Big. For me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the Command Post Live. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I, of course, am your Commander-in-Chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me tonight. So, we are just a shade over a week away from the start of the NFL season when the Rams and the Bills kick off the 2022 campaign. And then 3 days later, our beloved Burgundy and Gold Washington Commanders, for the very first time in franchise history, will take the field in a regular season game as the Commanders, where they will host the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot will transpire between then and now. We've seen that 53-man rosters, a ever-changing and evolving dynamic here in the nation's capital. As today, Washington released two linebackers, okay, David Mayo and Dejon Harris, and they also put tight end Curtis Hodges on IR, freeing up 3 roster spots. So the assumption that I made, and again, I told you I'm not usually that far off, was that they embedded fat into the 53-man roster, right? They implanted fat, all right, so that when it was time to trim that fat, they would know exactly where to go. And so you don't want to make it hard on yourself by not having any fat to pinch off and be able to trim off when it's time to go sign those corners, because there was no way they were going into the season with 4 corners and the 4th corner being Christian Holmes. It just wasn't going to happen. So you knew they were going to sign at least one. And I said it. Rio said it. Rico said it. They're going to sign 2 guys. That was the thought process. Like, there's no way. I don't want Christian Holmes to even be remotely close to touching the field. Okay. Now, here's where I wasn't right. I thought that one of these 2 corners was going to be a veteran, right? And I did say this with, Rio and Rico yesterday, that Ron's MO, since he's been here, has been to sign young guys. It's not to go out and get the 32-year-old proven wily veteran. Okay, it's not Chris Harris Jr. that we're signing here in Washington. We're not signing Logan Ryan to a deal. Okay, that's not what we've been doing here in Washington. We're signing the young guy that's 1 or 2 years removed from college, hasn't done a lot in the league. They like his upside. They may have liked him coming out of college, had a high grade on him, and they'd like to take a shot at him now that he's available. That's been the go-to move. Look at the roster. And Ron even talked about that today. He and Martin Mayhew sat down for a post-53-man roster press conference, and Ron reiterated, the thing that I'm most excited about with this team is just how young we are, how we're growing and we're learning, and how a lot of these guys, although they're young, have been in the system now multiple years. So now we expect more of them. So Ron is essentially telling you he wants to grow with this young team. Well, you're going to have to win to buy yourself more time to allow you to grow with this team, which is what they think they're going to do with Carson Wentz now in tow. However, he continued down the path that he's been going on with the cornerbacks. And again, these moves do not instill confidence in me. I can't speak for you, but I'd be shocked if any of you felt more confident about this team or the defense in particular. And then if we want to get even more specific, the cornerback position, I doubt that you feel any more confident than you did prior to the 2 additions being added to the roster, knowing that they're both young guys. One was drafted this year in Tariq Fields-Castro, okay? He was drafted this year in the 6th round by the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know about his game, okay? Watched film on him going through the draft process. Wasn't as familiar with Rashad Wildgoose, Okay, that was a new name on me first and foremost. Okay, and this is why I miss doing the draft prospects one-on-one series, or excuse me, why I miss doing the draft wrap-up series, because both of these guys were drafted. Unlike in past situations where we've went out and got an undrafted guy from somewhere, these were drafted players. Wild Goose was drafted in 2021, and Tariq Fields Castro was drafted in 2022. So both were 6th-round picks, and both have different skill sets. Both are good athletes, different types of players. I'll explain here in a second, but let's continue with the theme of the roster. So I talked about the fat being trimmed off, and I said DeJohn Harris is going to be the first guy gone, and I thought that Curtis Hodges would be the second. Well, I was pretty much spot on there. Hodges, if you recall, hasn't practiced in over a week and a half, close to 2 weeks, and he didn't play in the last preseason game. Why? Because he was banged up. So Washington decided to put him on IR. So he's on short-term IR, not the long-term that means your season's done. He'll be eligible to come back in about 4 weeks. So that freed up a roster spot. They used that roster spot then on an old friend. And last night when I was on Rio's show with Rico, I said that as long as David Mayo, as long as we got a big glob of mayo on our defensive sandwich, there's no need for Jon BOOMBostic. Man, he's fantastic. There's no need for Jon Bostic. But, because they're one and the same, really. Bostic's a better athlete, but they're one and the same. I think the run defender edge goes to David Mayo. The pass defense, which it's not that big of a difference, but the pass defense edge goes to Bostic because he's a better athlete. He's not any better in coverage than Mayo is. He's just faster. Okay? So essentially what I'm telling you is, instead of him getting there slow and not making the play, he gets there faster, but he still doesn't make the play. Anyway, as long as we got a glob of mayo on our defensive sandwich, there's no need for Jon BOOMBostic. But the minute he got cut, and I didn't think he was going to get cut. I was shocked to see them move on from Mayo. The minute that Mayo got cut, I said, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. And I had already known that Bostic had been cut from New Orleans. Could it be? Could it be? Reunited and it feels so good. Could it be a reuniting situation? Could it be a reunion? A Jon Bostic reunion. It's a Jon Bostic reunion. A lot of you guys are freaking out over Jon Bostic being back here in Washington. I don't know why. Now, I'm calm. You know why I'm calm about Jon Bostic being added back to the roster? I've said this before. I've said it many times. I'm going to say it again because it's how I've always felt. And you've heard me say this before. I don't have a Jon Bostic on the roster problem, okay? I have a Jon Bostic starting on my defense problem. Well, Jon Bostic isn't starting. So as long as 53 is over on the sidelines where he belongs and only blessing the field with his presence on special teams or short yardage situations, I'm perfectly fine. Now, here's where things start to go off the rails with Jon Bostic. Every time he's on the team, and usually he's a starter, but even when we try to get his ass out of there, somehow, some way, he just moseys his way back into the lineup somehow, right? Jamin Davis is further along this year. I'm expecting big things from him. Cole Holcomb has a firm grasp on the middle linebacker position. As long as these guys are healthy, we should be fine. Okay? We should be fine. Now, where things get a little dicey. And this was always the case. It didn't matter if Bostic was here, if it was David Mayo, we would have had the same problem. Doesn't matter. If we have some injuries or we have some difficulties picking up the scheme or making plays and they start to inch towards Bostic, that's where we get into trouble. That's what they did in Jamin Davis's rookie season, if you remember. Not rookie season. That's what they did at the end of Bostic being here. Wasn't Bostic here? I always get confused. He was here last year, right? He was here last year and he tore his pec like in week 4 or something like that. He was done for the rest of the season. It was supposed to be Jamin Davis from the jump. And Davis was having a couple of issues, getting lined up, knowing where to be. And they overloaded his brain. That's what they did as a rookie. They shouldn't have done that to Jamin Davis, but they did. They put way too much on his plate. And so they said, hey, we feel more comfortable with Jon BOOMBostic in the middle of this defense. And so his ass ended up on the field. I don't think that's going to happen this year. The only way Jon BOOMBostic sees the field, in my estimation, it won't be because of play. Somebody not playing up to the caliber of what they feel like they should be getting out of that position. It won't be that this year. I feel pretty confident in saying that. It will be because of injury, knock on a little bit of wood, or it will be because of special teams, or we're in a big goal line defensive package that warrants another linebacker or two being put on the field. That's it. I'm not worried about Bostic because he has no business being on the field in a starting capacity, and he won't be. Let's keep it that way. Okay. But I felt the same way about David Mayo. I don't have a David Mayo or a Jon BOOMBostic problem on the roster. I have a problem with those guys playing meaningful snaps. As long as those guys are on the bench where they belong and only here for emergency depth purposes only, I'm fine. I'm more concerned, less about Bostic and more concerned about the cornerback position. We went out and got a second-year player who has 3 tackles. That is it to his name, and has only played in 4 NFL games total. And we went and got a rookie who hasn't played a single snap of NFL football. And those are the guys we're supposed to be relying on for depth purposes. So you added a rookie to a cornerback position that had a rookie already as the immediate depth, and then a second-year corner who's really just a nickel corner, which is why you really brought him here, even though he has the versatility to play outside. He's more of a nickel. And I'm supposed to feel really good about this? Again, I would have felt a lot better about Tariq Fields-Castro. I would have felt a lot better about Rashad Wildgoose had these guys been brought here a month and a half ago. At least they know the scheme. At least the team and the coaching staff has gotten their hands on these guys and understands their strengths and weaknesses and where they can play these guys. We are essentially going into battle blindly at the cornerback position. God forbid anything happen to our top 3 corners. The shit could go off the rails defensively. We already aren't confident in this defense's ability to get the job done and more specifically, get off the field on 3rd downs. Now you're bringing in some guys that are unproven, untested, and frankly, maybe undeserving. We'll see. I like the upside of both of these guys. More so Tariq Fields-Castro than Rashad Wildgoose. Neither one of these guys have ball skills, really. Wildgoose has 1 interception in his career, and Tariq Fields-Castro has 2. And neither one of them are real ball hawking guys. And I remember one of the things that really bothered me with Tariq Fields-Castro is he didn't have great hands. You see him in a position to make a play, ball goes right through his hands. It's always been a pet peeve of mine, but my guy Derek B is like, yo, I don't care anything about interceptions. If it's 3rd and 7 and you get a pass breakup, sign me up. We're getting the football back. Touche. I just rather have it at the 38 instead of the punter coming out and kicking in and we started our own 18. I'd rather have it at the Jacksonville Jaguar 38-yard line. But that's just me. Anyway, it's going to be interesting, and they still may not be done. We'll see. I think this is the last movement that we'll see. The fact that they built into the roster to trim off has already been trimmed. So unless something crazy happens and a guy that they desperately want to get their hands on, which we're not in a position to get anybody that the rest of the league might be interested in, because you got to put your waiver claim in, and we're 11th. So it's not like a couple of years ago where we had the second pick in the draft when we drafted Chase Young, and you put a waiver claim in, you're probably going to get that guy. As long as Cincinnati doesn't want him, who was the number 1 pick that year, he's ours. We're not in that position. We're 11th. So 10 other teams have to say, nah, I'm good, for us to get our hands on a guy that has to pass through waivers. So the likelihood of us getting anything that we truly want without us having to trade for it, slim and none at this point. So this is the thing I have to explain to you guys tonight, because a lot of you guys are so upset. You want it better. What did you think we were going to get our hands on this time of the year? Seriously, like, this is the thing. Like, when I was on Rio's show last night, there were a lot of questions about who do you think we can go out here and get? What do you think we're going to end up getting our hands on this time of the year? I mean, there are diamonds in the rough, right? Like the Jaguars got Quincy Williams a couple of years ago. I loved him. That's Quentin Williams' brother. Jacksonville drafted him in the 4th round. They discarded him. And guess what the Jets did? They put in a waiver claim, and he was outstanding for them last year. But guess what? The Jets are always drafting in the top 5. So they're always going to be one of the first teams that if they put a waiver claim in, they're going to be able to get their hands on a guy. Okay? That's not where we are. We're usually middle of the pack. 11, 13, 17. That's usually right around where we draft. So we're not going to get the Quincy Williamses of the world that end up shaking free. We're not going to get the guy that gets released that everybody's like, yo, look out for this kid. He's had a strong preseason. There are 5 or 6 teams that are also eyeballing that same linebacker. So if they put in waiver claims, we're not going to get him. And you'll never know that we put a waiver claim in, because let's say that the Detroit Lions decided, hey, we like that same linebacker that Washington likes. We put a waiver claim in, but Detroit puts a waiver claim in. Detroit had the 2nd pick in the draft. Guess what? They're going to get that linebacker. And unless somebody tweets out Washington, Chicago, and Denver also had a waiver claim in on this guy, you'll never know. So at the end of the day, Washington did what they could with the resources that were afforded to them. Could they have gone out and traded a 7th round pick for Trayvon Mullen from the Raiders? Sure, they could have done that. I would have preferred that, actually. But they didn't want to give up any draft capital. I understand that as well. He's going into the last year of his rookie deal. I get that too. So you don't want to give up a 7th round pick for a guy that's essentially a rental, and you don't know if you actually like this rental car or not. You haven't test drove it yet. So you don't know if you like this car. And you may get the car and you may say, man, this really doesn't fit the kind of, things that I need, my family, all the things that I need to put in here. I want my 7th round pick back. And the Raiders like, no. You don't get your 7th rounder back. So I understand the apprehension to want to give up anything. And all the while you turn around and every time you look, the Eagles are trading for another guy and adding to their roster. Let me tell you something about what the Eagles are doing. And it's fantastic what Howie Roseman's done with all of the different moves he's made. Just understand that the pressure that comes with that. Like, for all the praise that the Eagles are getting, and some of you have found yourself over there staring off into space and daydreaming about what the Eagles are doing. Stop worrying about what the Eagles are doing, okay? Because if they don't get it done this year, it will be another Dream Team-esque epic fail with the roster that they've put together. They went out and got every single dude under the sun. I want no excuses. I don't want to hear shit from Eagles fans. If they don't win 11 or 12 games this year with the schedule that they have in front of them and all of these guys that they've added in this tremendous roster that all Eagles fans want to talk about ad nauseum, now they think they got the best GM in football. Well, bitch, you better win 12 games this year. If you don't, I'm going to be stepping on your doorstep, beating your goddamn door in, and you better open the bitch up. Because I got a lot of shit to say. And I'm telling you right now, we better not sweep the Eagles this year. We better not, because I'm going to be insufferable. Insufferable. Because they've been talking so much shit. It used to be, man, I want to beat the Cowboys so bad. This year, man, I want to beat the Eagles so bad. Yeah, I want to beat Dallas too. But I want to beat the Eagles more than anybody else. I don't know if y'all saw, they flooded my timeline yesterday. You know, LB did the shit that he always does, his little passive-aggressive shit, where he posted some shit, throws it in the atmosphere, and then all his little flock, you know, his little bird gang flocks to the shit. And I got a chuckle out of it. And he told him, hey, leave him alone. No. Don't leave me alone. I tweeted this shit out. Don't leave me alone. Bring all your asses here at once, because I'm going to exterminate your asses. Okay? I'm looking to make y'all birds extinct. I like killing birds. So this season is going to be so much fun for so many different reasons. I'm going to enjoy this season because I think we actually got a quarterback. I think football games are fun when you can score points. I'm not saying it's the best way to go about it, because I look, when we beat Seattle 17-15, when we beat the Raiders 17-15, when we beat Tampa Bay 29-19, when we beat Carolina 27-20, I enjoyed every one of those games. Okay? And the latter two, we couldn't score to save our damn life. And I still had fun watching those games. But you know what's even more fun? First of all, winning. Nothing trumps winning. Winning is the most fun that you will have as a fan. And I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if it's aesthetically pleasing. I just want the dub. Because as I always tell you, 3 weeks after you get it, when that brick is in the left-hand column, no one's going to actually pick that brick up, look at it, and assess. Oh, man, you only had 213 yards of total offense. And you only scored 16 points. How the hell did you? Nobody's going to say that shit. You know what they're going to say? Oh, you beat the Texans. And they're just going to put that brick back down. Okay? That's all that matters. They're just going to count that brick when they count all the bricks in the left-hand column to see if you got enough to get a ticket to the dance. But what's really fun is when you're winning and you're scoring points doing it. Like, we haven't done that since 2015. Okay? Maybe even 2016. Scoring points is fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when on a Sunday night, you outduel Aaron Rodgers, scored 38 points and win a game going away. That's fun. I haven't done that in a long time. Again, we had a whole season in 2020 where the offense didn't score 30 points or more in any game. We had one game where we scored over 30, and that was the Thanksgiving game against Dallas. We scored 41. And again, that was a lot of that was defensively. You know, the Cowboys helped us by going for it on fourth down a couple of times deep in their own territory. Like, they aided and abetted us in getting 41. And then, you know, Montez Sweat says, don't mind if I do, and took one out of the air and went for a touchdown. They made sure that we scored up over 30. No other game did we score 30 that season. How many games did we score 30 or more last year? Wasn't very many, if any. I remember bitching and complaining that I wanted 30 and we didn't kick the extra point because of our extra point woes. And it was the right thing to do against Tampa, but I wanted 30. But I think we hit 30 once or twice. We hit it against, I'm not sure if we hit it against Atlanta. I know we hit it against the Giants. That was 30-28. I think we hit it against Atlanta as well. I think that was like a 34-30 game against Atlanta. But I think that's it. After those two games early in the season, I don't think we hit 30 again the rest of the year. So, and those were fun games. Weren't those fun games? Didn't you enjoy yourself? Now, they were nail biters, and you almost had a heart attack maybe 4 or 5 times. And for some of you, you needed a defibrillator, and you probably died once or twice and had to be brought back to life. But we won the game. It was fun. Who doesn't enjoy that? 38 points, 34 points. Who doesn't enjoy that? I think we got a chance to do that this year. Consistently. It might take a little while. I don't expect us right out of the gates to be putting up 34 points against Jacksonville week 1. It'd be nice. I don't think we're there yet. Give us a few weeks, though. Let this engine rev up a bit. I think we might be actually ready to start putting some points on some skulls, running it up, making teams have to keep up with us. So all of y'all over there romanticizing about what the Eagles are doing, let's see if they live up to the hype, because now there's a lot of hype surrounding the Eagles. You want to trade for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. You want to trade for, this guy. You want to trade for that guy. You want to add this guy in free agency. You want to add that guy in free agency. You want to add, you don't just buy a championship. You guys understand that, right? There's more to winning than just, hey, we got the best players. It's one thing to add a guy here or there. They've revamped their roster. Okay? They got at least 11 or 12 new players on their football team. It doesn't just come together overnight either. And oh, by the way, all of these defensive players that they have, they got an ass defensive coordinator. Now, it may be the pot calling the kettle black, because Jack Del Rio, last time I checked, hasn't done that great of a job here in Washington, but he's better than Jonathan Gannon. That's for damn sure. So you can have all the pieces you want, but if the guy pulling the strings is cheeks, hot buns fresh out of the oven, what difference does it make? Anyway, enough of the Eagles. I'm tired of talking about their sorry ass. Okay? This is about us. I've always told y'all, it ain't about nobody else in the division. It's about us. Okay? If we take care of business, then we should be fine. Okay? I don't know if what we'll ultimately do will be enough to win the division. I don't know if it'll be enough to win the division or not. But if we take care of business, if we win 11 games, that'll be enough to go to the playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, the playoffs. Yeah, I'm not going to be using the P word too many more times either. Okay, we got to earn that. I'm not going to keep using that word and throwing it out there all frivolously. Okay. But if we take care of our business, don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Take care of what we got to take care of. We look up at the end of the season, and if we're 11-6, we will be playing bonus football. Okay? Can't make that guarantee with 10 wins, but I think looking at the landscape of the NFC, I think 10-7 gets you into the postseason as well, but I can't guarantee you that. I can guarantee you 11 gets you in the postseason and a ticket to the dance. Either way. I look at the roster, and I've seen so many different things over the last 48 hours since the 53-man roster came down, and now the moves that were made today. I've seen so many, and our fans are so extra. They really are extra. Read all about it. And on one hand, I get it, and I've always explained to you guys that I've lived it with you, so I understand why you're extra. But at the same time, I'm like, you already felt that way, like you already thought this was a 6-7 win team before they went out and signed Jon BOOMBostic, as if Jon BOOMBostic makes that big of a difference. Before we trimmed the roster down and we only had 4 corners, you knew the cornerback position was already a problem before a 53-man roster cut down. We've been bitching about it all offseason. But now that you see they only kept 4, oh my God, we're going to win 6 games this season. What? Like that stuff, it I don't know why it bothers me, but it does. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, at the end of the day, I'm gonna die on this hill. And if we're cheeks this year, and we only do and we do what everybody thinks we're gonna do, which is win 6 or 7 games, I'm gonna be embarrassed, not just for me, but I'm gonna be embarrassed for this organization, because we'll have egg all over our face with the Carson Wentz situation. Ron Rivera will be going down a path that will lead to him being fired, okay, along with the rest of his staff. And I will be miserable, because yet again, here's another opportunity to do something we haven't done since 1991, and we let it go by the wayside. You don't get these opportunities every year, Okay, we don't get to play Jacksonville and Houston and Atlanta and, you know, these types of teams in 1 year on the schedule when they're supposed to be asked. Now, Jacksonville could win 10 games this year. We could be talking about a Jacksonville Jaguars team that's a lot better than we think. And Detroit can be better than we think. But you got Jacksonville, you got Detroit, you got Houston, you got Atlanta, you got the Giants twice. They look like they're going to be ass cheeks as well, right? You got to take advantage of this schedule, man. There aren't any 3 out of 4s and 4 out of 5s on the road. Like, this schedule is, oh my God, it is a thing of beauty. The only thing that you could complain about is the bye week. And I don't even have a complaint about it because they said, hey, I'm going to toss you a week 6 Thursday night game that's going to allow you to have a pseudo bye. You got nothing to worry about. The schedule's set up for success. The teams on the schedule is set up for success. Last year, we got a taste of what it's like to play a murderer's row schedule, so we know it can't be any worse than last year's schedule, and we navigated that thing, right? We navigated that thing. Hey, look, it was only 7 wins, granted, but we were once 6-6 before the bottom of the season fell out with COVID and injuries and things of that nature. We were 6-6. We had navigated the tough part of the schedule, and it was just division games left. We had gotten through Brady, and we had gotten through Wilson and Rodgers and Mahomes and Allen and Herbert. We did that. And Carr. And Matt Ryan. We did that. And we were 6-6. I'm not bragging about it, but I'm telling you, we navigated that thing. And then the bottom of the season fell out. So if we can navigate that schedule and come out at 6-6 before we lost 4 out of 5 division games at the end of the season with COVID and injuries and things of that nature. You call it an excuse if you want. That's a reason for me. You call it an excuse, that's fine. I don't mind. You telling me we can't navigate a schedule with Fields and Lawrence and Goff and Hurts and Tannehill and old-ass Matt Ryan again, and Mills and Mariota. You telling me we can't navigate this schedule and find a way to win at a bare minimum 9-10 games? And I'm not reducing the number to single digits. If you can't get 10 if you can't squeeze the rag and get 10 out of this, when are we going to get 10, guys? I don't have the answers for you. We got issues defensively. We don't know if we're going to stop teams on third down. We don't love the secondary. Not sure if anybody other than Montez Sweat and Jonathan Allen are going to get pressure on the quarterback. There's so many questions. You don't trust the linebackers. I could sit here and list all the issues defensively. And I'm still going to look you in the face I'm still going to look you in the eyes with a straight face and tell you that I still expect this defense to find a way to get it done. This feels like 2020 to me. This feels like 2020. The schedule that we're playing, the expectations being, the expectations are on the floor. When Ron got here, there were no expectations. Just don't be one of the worst teams in football. That was the expectation. Just don't absolutely flat out suck. Kind of feels like that's what everybody's throwing our way again. Oh, Carson Wentz is trash. Hey, he's been on 3 teams in 3 years. The Colts gave him away, and the Eagles took the biggest salary cap penalty in history to get rid of him. He's got to be awful. Oh, the Washington Commanders are going to be a 6-7 win team. Okay, cool. I'm taking all of this shit in. I'm taking it all in because at the end of the day, I've told you guys this all the time, many a times. All we got is us. That's the only people that believe in us is us. And there's a lot of people in the fan base that don't believe in us. Okay. A lot of fans don't believe that this team is any good. I'm watching the Ron Rivera, Martin Mayhew presser, And all I see are negative comments on and I don't care about that stuff. That stuff doesn't bother me, But all I see are negative comments about how bad this team is going to be this year. And they're Washington fans, And every now and again, you'll get a troll that infiltrates the presser and they try to pose as a Washington fan, but they're not. But these were Washington fans. And they're talking about this team will never win until Daniel Snyder's no longer the owner. And look, there's some validity to that. I don't think we can win consistently with him as owner unless you get a quarterback that transcends a bad organization. We've seen quarterbacks put entire franchises on their backs before and change the trajectory of a franchise's direction. All right. We saw Kurt Warner do it for the Arizona Cardinals. They've been a totally different outfit ever since Kurt Warner came along and took them to a Super Bowl. They were the Arizona Cardinals. Like, when you said that before, it meant that they were trash. It's the Arizona Cardinals. We should beat them. We saw Peyton Manning do it with the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts were one of the worst NFL franchises for the better part of 2 decades. And then Peyton Manning shows up in 1998 and everything changes. But you got to have one of those. It's got to be one of those types of guys to change everything. And we just haven't had that guy show up here. We haven't had that kind of luck. And I'm not telling you Carson Wentz is that guy. I don't think he is. But what he can do is help us win and win enough games to get us to play bonus football and give us a chance in the postseason. I do think he's good enough to do that. And for once, we've surrounded the quarterback with a ton of weapons. In past years, we've gotten quarterbacks, but they haven't had much to work with. And these guys that we've had, whether it's Alex Smith or it's Case Keenum or it's Kyle Allen or it's Taylor Heineke, these aren't star quarterbacks that can carry a roster or carry a team. You needed to surround them. Hell, even Kirk Cousins needed a roster around him to be effective. We weren't even giving these quarterbacks ammunition. We were sending these quarterbacks out to these gunfights with knives. Hey, here you go. Hope you got some good aim. I mean, what is Alex Smith? What is Dwayne Haskins? What is Kyle Allen supposed to do with Dontrell Inman and Isaiah Wright at wide receiver? I mean, what are they supposed to do? Seriously. We're not doing that now. Like, we got a legitimate group of skill position players offensively that even if things don't go the way that we intend them to go from a health standpoint, in past years, if one guy gets injured, all bets are off. Last year, Curtis Samuel went down and the offense fell the hell apart because he was supposed to be the help that Terry needed. And Diami wasn't ready. Okay? This year, if one guy goes down, we still got 2 or 3 other guys that we feel really good about. Tight end position, Logan Thomas went down, and we were relying on Ricky Seals-Jones, and he was good for us, but Ricky Seals-Jones is Ricky Seals-Jones. Let's keep it a buck. Okay? Let's not act like Ricky Seals-Jones is Darren Waller. He's Ricky Seals-Jones. I mean, we had nothing at tight end, and then he got hurt. And then we saw what happened. We saw what happened last year when J.D. McKissick went down at running back. I mean, damn, we might as well cancel the rest of the season offensively. Shit, we couldn't even score any points. So it's totally different this year. It's totally different, especially when we get B-Rob back in the saddle at running back. It's totally different. The tight end position is getting healthy. We got 4 of these dudes. I'm excited. I can't wait to see Cole Turner. I'm actually excited to see what 85 looks like because I think he's going to be a problem. I really, truly do. And I really like 88. Like, I'm excited about Amani Rodgers. Like, this group of tight ends, they can cause a problem. You know, I'm not the biggest John Bates fan, but I'm looking at all of these dudes and I'm like, man, we got athletes now at tight end. And so I'm cool with John Bates now. And maybe he'll show me something this year. But we deep at tight end. We deep at receiver. We deep at running back. Offensive line, you already know. We got a maestro. You already know what's good on the offensive side of the football. Offensive line-wise, I should say. If Carson Wentz isn't a nightmare, and nothing that I've seen from him, nothing that I've seen from him over the last, few years, other than that 1 year in Philadelphia. And we could make, arguments as to why that transpired the way that it did. The Eagles, I think they were complicit in his demise in Philadelphia. Wentz absolutely has a large chunk of the blame that needs to be placed right on his lap. And he's owned that. He wasn't mature. Them drafting Jalen Hurts, it all played with his psyche. Again, the one position you don't want competition is at quarterback. I can't stress that enough. There's nothing healthy about quarterback competition. You can have competition everywhere else on the roster. Do not have it at quarterback. It's not good. You want your quarterback to go out and play loose and free. You don't want him looking over his shoulder, rather. So it was a mess in 2020. No excuses. He wasn't good, period. All right. I watched him in 2021. He was back to being the Carson Wentz that used to kick our ass twice a year in Philadelphia. I can't speak for any of you. I saw good Carson. I saw bad Carson. I saw indifferent Carson. That's Carson Wentz. That's always been Carson Wentz, except for 2017 and most of 2019. Okay? He's going to wow you in some games. He's going to piss you off in other games. And then there are going to be some games where he's just a passenger. And you know what? You can win those games too. The Colts won them, a lot of them. And there were some games where he had to step up and he was outstanding and they just didn't get it done. There was a game last year against Baltimore. If you guys recall, they were up big on the Ravens. Carson Wentz threw for like damn near 400, if not over 400 in that game. And Lamar Jackson went apeshit. Lamar Jackson was like 39 of 43 in that game. Some ridiculous amount of completions. I think his completion percentage was like 86% in that game. Lamar would not miss. He brought him all the way back, had the crazy 2-point conversion. They came back, stormed all the way back and beat him. Wentz was good in that game. Wentz was great in that game. It wasn't enough. I said all of that to say this. I'm not worried about the offense. I've been saying that for much of the offseason. I'm excited about the offense. I think we're going to score points this year. I think we're going to score points in bunches. I'm a huge proponent of Scott Turner. I know a lot of you aren't the biggest Scott Turner fans. I think he's done a lot with as few resources as you can really have in this league, and he's gotten as much as you can get out of what we've provided him with these first 2 years in Washington. I think this is his coming out party. I think that offensively, we're gonna run the checkup. The question that we will keep running into is, and I'm hoping the defense stands up early in this season and says, hey, you ain't got nothing to worry about. We good over here. I hope that's the case. But the question that we'll continue to ask ourselves is it enough? Is 30 enough, or is the defense going to give up 31? Is 33 enough, or is the defense going to give up 34? Is 36 enough, or is the defense going to give up 38? Is it enough? Can 27 be enough today, or is the defense going to give up 29 or 30? That, I think, is the question that we have right now, is can the defense do enough? And, Want me to tell you something that's really starting to bother me? Isn't the third down defense. And I know a lot of you are stuck on third down defense and specific portions of the roster, linebacker, corner. Some of you aren't sold on safety. Maybe the defensive line isn't good enough to your liking. You know what's bothering me right now? Is that we don't produce any turnovers. That's the thing that right now is really irking me. Like, we played our starters for essentially 3/4 of the preseason. And, along the way somewhere, you get a second string quarterback, you get a third string quarterback. Somebody's going to make a mistake. You're going to take advantage of it. We haven't produced a single turnover the entire preseason. That was not our MO last year. We are not a turnover forcing team. We don't look to punch the football out like most teams in the league. We don't strip guys of the football. We don't go after the football when we go after the quarterback. We're looking to get sacks and get them on the ground. We don't pick the ball off unless it's Kendall Fuller. I think William Jackson III, when he gets his opportunities, may be able to take advantage of it. But for the most part, if it's not Kendall Fuller, we're not picking passes off. Bobby McCain got busy last year a couple of times, but he had a drop last year against the Denver Broncos when Teddy Bridgewater threw it right to him. We have to be better in the turnover creating department. That worries me. Because if you're not going to be great on third downs, and I can't say that this defense is going to be even average on third downs right now. Nothing that they've shown me to this point suggests that they're going to be, and again, it's preseason. I'm not getting worked up about it. They're not game planning, none of that stuff. I'm not tripping, but I'm still basing off of what we saw last year. Nothing. And the only thing I can hang my hat on is that they're now more comfortable. It's a year, further into Del Rio's system. There's more communication, all of that stuff. I mean, there's only so much of that you can continue to tell me. I need to see results on the field. Okay. I don't need you to keep telling me over and over again, we're communicating better. Guys know where to be. We're talking on the field. All right, show me on 3rd and 7. Show me that you guys are communicating and talking and that everybody knows where to be. We got to create some turnovers, man. Percy Butler had an opportunity for an interception in the first preseason game against Carolina. That's it. Other than that, we weren't even close to creating a turnover. I don't even know if we forced a fumble, a single fumble in any of the preseason games. That one in the Carolina game, that wasn't even a fumble. I still want to know why Ron didn't challenge. I don't know if he can challenge that, because I think they said it was a fumble. It wasn't a fumble. It was intentional grounding. But that's nor here nor there. We didn't force a single fumble in the preseason. If we could generate some turnovers, our third down defense doesn't have to be great. It could even be below average if you're creating turnovers. But you can't have third down ineptitude and don't create turnovers. That is a losing recipe. And I'll just add this one little caveat in. Special teams has to be good for us this year. We haven't had any special teams issues the last 2 years, really, with the exception of Steven Sims Jr. I take that back. 2020, there was a problem there. Okay, Steven Sims Jr. was a problem. He fumbled against the Arizona Cardinals. He had the muff punt against the Panthers late in the season. He was awful in 2020. Last year, it was awfully quiet. As a matter of fact, special teams, the return side of things was actually a positive. I lied again. Special teams was a problem last year, too. The field goal kicking situation was a mess. We can't have that shit this year. Special teams has to either be quiet or it has to be loud and in our favor. But it can't be noisy and working for the opposition. We're not good enough yet to maybe if we get on a roll offensively, then special teams won't become as big of a problem. But right now, we need every single point we can get. We're not good enough at finishing drives as an offense. Carson's going to have to show me some of that magic off schedule on third downs in the red zone to make me feel a little bit better. We know he's fully capable, but right now, as it stands, Joey Sly, and I'm not worried about Joey Sly. I'm not. He's the least of my worries. I'm more concerned with the return game and whether that'll hurt us in the punt return department and in the kickoff department, because right now, if Antonio Gibson isn't running kicks back, I'm assuming they're going to throw Dax Milne back there. That doesn't excite me. At this point, I'm like, hey, Dax, just let that bitch hit the end zone. Let's take it at the 25. Special teams, I just keep it nice and quiet. Cam Cheeseman, get your snaps up. Okay, the first extra point of the preseason, you skip the bitch back there. Let's get the snaps up. Let's get the operation to be clean. Every single point needs to be put on the scoreboard. And Joey Sly, I don't want to hear about being amped up early in the games. Make your damn kicks. I'm going to tell you right now. We're going to score, because tonight I told you I'm going to have, a lot to say. This is the last command post live before the season kicks off and gets underway. We're going to score 30 or more 6 times this season. 6 times. It's a far cry from the 2 we had last year and the 1 we had the year before that. I'd venture to say that 6 games of 30 or more will probably equal 4 or 5 years worth of 30-plus point performances by this team, because you had 2 last year, you had 1 the year before that, we had none in 2019. We remember we were one of the worst offenses in NFL history in 2019. I can't remember what we did in 2018, but that was the Alex Smith year. We weren't lighting the scoreboard up with old Alex Smith before he got injured. We damn sure weren't lighting it up afterwards. I don't know if there were any 30-point games in there with Alex Smith, to be honest with you. We were kind of just moseying along, 24 here. There's a 27 every now and again. But there was mostly 23s, 26, 17. I don't think we scored 30 many times in 18 either. I would venture to say that in the last 5 years, you might have had 6 30-point performances or more combined from 18 to 2021. Okay? 18, 19, 20, 21. Those last 4 years. I think you might have had 6 altogether. And you might have only had 5. Who knows? I'm going out on a limb. 6. You heard it here first. 6 30-plus point performances by the Commanders this year. That's how bullish I am on this offense. Now, how many of those games is the defense going to give up? I don't know. I've said this all, I think last year I was really big on this. I'm big on this every year, but in particular last year because I didn't trust Ryan Fitzpatrick. The turnover battle has to be in the pluses. We have to be in the plus side of things. We were really down like -7 or 8. We were one of the worst teams in the turnover differential because we didn't generate turnovers. And we turned it over. Heineke threw interceptions. He threw about, 12, 13, 14 of them some bitches last year. And Gibson fumbled, 4 or 5 times that he lost it. I think he fumbled 6 overall. I think he lost about 4 or 5 of them things. And Heineke probably fumbled 2 or 3 times. He probably fumbled more like 4 or 5 times last year. I don't know how many of those he may have lost. But at the end of the day, we didn't create enough turnovers. And that's something that we need to do this season. Take care of the ball offensively, but also create some turnovers. Like, that's going to be huge. Turnover battle is huge every single week, and the turnover differential is a big thing. So I feel really good about all of the components of this football team. Defensively, I've got my issues. I've got my concerns. But I think my confidence in the offense outweighs my worry of this defense, if that makes any sense. Couple the special teams and the offense together is greater than my concern for the defense. And because of that, I think the defense isn't as bad as you think, especially with the level of competition that we're going to play. You know, if we were playing the schedule that we had last year, with the defense being what it is now, remember, we went into last year thinking that this defense was going to carry us because of what we did in 2020. Imagine if our defense looked like it did last year with the schedule we had last year coming into this season. What do you think would happen? What do you think we would be thinking about our defense? But that's not the case. This schedule looks more like the 2020 schedule we faced and less like the 2021 schedule. So at the end of the day, I continue to be on this 12-5 kick. 11-6 is really ultimately where I think we end up, but I'm on this 12-5 kick. You know, I'm going to say this as well, and then I'm going to get to your comments and see what you guys have to say. We got to get off to faster starts. One of my biggest pet peeves with this team and really this organization, this isn't a Ron Rivera problem. This was a Jay Gruden problem as well. The last time we didn't have this issue was with Kyle and Mike, because you know they could script the hell out of a first 15, and a lot of times we would score first with Kyle and Mike. This was a Jay Gruden problem. This has been a Ron Rivera problem. We have to start faster. And not just games, seasons. Okay? In a vacuum, we have to start the game faster. But when you remove that vacuum and you open up the picture and it's the full screen, we got to start seasons faster. You can't get a better opportunity to start fast than the one we've been presented with this year. It was a similar situation last year. Like, we didn't know how good Justin Herbert was going to be. We thought he was good, but we weren't sure. He blessed us in week 1, but we should have won that game. We had our chances. And then week 2, you had the Giants at the crib on a Thursday night. That's your chance to start 2-0. We talked about that all offseason. Got to find a way to start 2-0. No worse than 1-1, because you got the Buffalo Bills waiting for you in week 3. That's not the case this year. Like, I feel the same way I felt last year. Got to find a way to start the season 2-0. But instead of it being Buffalo waiting for us on the road at Buffalo, it's the Eagles at the crib. That's another winnable football game. If it were Dallas, week 3 instead of week 4 at Dallas, and I'm like, hey, we better get to a 2-0 start. Because the likelihood is we're not going to Dallas and winning. Haven't beaten Dak Prescott yet in Dallas. In Ron's first season, we won the first game, and then we proceeded to lose like the next 5. Spotted Philadelphia 17 points and then scored 27 unanswered in his first game as Washington Redskins head coach, and then proceeded to lose the next 5 games. Last year, we lost a heartbreaker. We lost our quarterback. Then we fumbled the ball, and then we lost a heartbreaker in week 1, 20-16. You rebound, you win against the Giants. We should have lost that game if Dexter Lawrence doesn't jump off sides. We're 0-2. And really, that season doesn't go the way that it ultimately went. We don't beat Atlanta the following week if we lose to the Giants in week 2. Everything goes downhill from there. So we caught a break. But we won. You know, week 3, we go on the road. We had no business beating Atlanta in that game. Defense was awful, and they gave us a gift on one of the last third downs of the game. They decided they wanted to run a wide receiver screen. For what? You were absolutely destroying us on third downs. Just throw the bitch. Drop Matt Ryan back and throw it, and you'll get a first down. They threw a screen and they bailed us out. Thank you. They ran it on first and second down and then threw a screen on third down. Thank you, Atlanta. Really appreciate you. We came back and won that football game. That got us back to 2-2 after getting destroyed the week prior in Buffalo. After being 2-2, we managed to lose the next 4 games. Should have beaten New Orleans. They gave us every opportunity to beat them, and we said, nah, we good, man. Y'all go ahead. We don't want it. Kansas City, we forced 3 turnovers in the first half, and all we had to show for it was 13 points. And then we got the ball to start the second half, went right down the field, settled for a field goal, and Dustin Hopkins missed. And from that point on, the Chiefs decided to get in our asshole and never look back. As a matter of fact, I don't think we scored another point in that game. I think they beat us 31-13. Green Bay game was there for the taking. It was one of the most frustrating games offensively of the season. And then the Denver game was there for the taking, and we didn't want that one either. So you go into the bye week 2-6. Season was over. And then somehow you got Tampa coming off the bye. And somehow we managed to beat them. And we went to Carolina. They had Cam Newton. We beat them. And we came back home. And we beat Seattle on a Monday night. And then we went to Vegas and beat the Raiders. Got back to 500. But you see all of that work you did 4 games in a row. And it still wasn't enough to get you over 500 because you started so damn slow. Same shit in 2020. You start the season off 2-7. And then you run off 4 straight, and now you're 6-7, but you've done all that work, but you're still not even at 500. We got to start faster, not just games, the season. But it starts with starting games fast. I don't want to be down 10-0 to Jacksonville in week 1. Let's not do that. Let's win the toss. Let's defer to the second half, and let's get a stop. I'm not telling you it's got to be 3 and out. But let's not let these bastards cross midfield. Let's force them to punt. And let's see if we can't get some shit going and put some points on the board and put pressure on Jacksonville to keep up with us. We're always trying to play catch up. Down 10-0, down 14-0. Now we wake the hell up. You're 2-6. You're 1-5. Now you wake the hell up. We got to start faster this year. Not just in games, but the entire season as a whole. There's an opportunity to start this season off 3-1, 4-0. Take it. Break this thing up into quarters. You got 2 division games in the first 4 weeks of the season. You got 2 teams that were number 1 and number 2, respectively, in the NFL draft a season ago in your first 2 games. You have to find a way to win those games and give yourself a chance against divisional opponents. When's the last time? I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. When's the last time we've been over 500? Any takers? I know the answer. I'm pretty confident I know the answer. I'm going to leave that one there for you guys. I know the answer. That's not even a tough question, okay? You guys know, I think a lot of you know the answer as well. I want to know this answer, and I'm going to put you guys on the case because I don't know this answer. I could probably come up with it in my head if I sat and thought long enough. When's the last time when the calendar has turned to November? So you're talking double digits usually into the season. So let's say week 10 or later in the season. When is the last time we've been over 500? That's a sad state of affairs, by the way, that we're even having this discussion, and we are going to have to think about the last time that we hit late November, and we were over 500. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that it was 2018, that Eagles Monday night game when Colt McCoy broke his foot on the first possession or so. I think we were 6-5, if I'm not mistaken, before the bottom fell out of that season. Because if I'm not mistaken, Alex Smith got hurt. We were 6-3, I believe. About to be 6-4. So I think we were 6-4. Then we lost to Philadelphia. I think we were 6-5. I really think that Philadelphia loss put us at 500, but somewhere in there. 2018, Alex Smith gets hurt. Somewhere in there was the last time we were into November, maybe even early stages of December, over 500. We were never over 500 in 19. We were only, so this was the last time we were over 500 for those of you who weren't able to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Week 1 of 2020, when we beat the Eagles, okay? And we were 1-0. Rivera's first game, okay? We've never sniffed over 500 since then. Lost 5 straight, never got back to 500 in that season. We lost week 1 last year. We won week 2. We lost week 3. We won week 4, and then we lost 4 straight. And then we won 4 straight. We got back to 500, but we never sniffed over 500. That shit has to change this year. And that's what I'm talking about, getting off to faster starts. That's got to change this year. And it will. All right. So let's get to the comment section. See what you guys have to say. And we start off the night with Chase Young Burner. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Chase Young Burner writes, this team doesn't make sense at all. Linebacker was our weakest spot, and we don't do anything. Draft, free agency, wait 5 months to cut just to sign Bostic. I don't get wrong. So, to your point, linebacker was definitely a need going into the offseason. It was very high on the list of needs. I think linebacker actually was number 2 on my list, and I've got my list right here. Still got it, of offseason needs. Now, it wasn't to acquire. I made sure I worded this specifically for this purpose because I didn't know what they were going to do. But number 2 was figure out middle linebacker. It didn't say add a linebacker or that we needed to go and draft 3 more linebackers. Just figure out middle linebacker. And they did that. They moved Cole Holcomb permanently to middle linebacker. So they did that. That was number 2 on my list of offseason needs. Now, nowhere in there did I or my list, say that we were good once they figured out middle linebacker. But that was the biggest offseason need. That was the second biggest. Obviously, quarterback was number 1. But they figured it out. Now, did they still need to add depth to that group? Absolutely. And we thought that they would. I didn't think they would do it in free agency. We went over the free agency crop like 20 times, and there was nothing there. The one guy that I wanted was the Bills linebacker, Matt Milano, and the Bills locked him up quick, fast, and in a hurry. That didn't last very long. So there was really nothing out there to be had. So I was like, yeah, we're going to draft something. And it won't be early because we spent the first round pick on the position last year. It won't be early. It'll be like the 4th round. Remember, I kept trying to give us middle of the round, the draft linebackers. They weren't interested. They had other plans. Fine. I'm not tripping. Because we don't play a lot of linebackers. We play a lot of defensive linemen. We play a lot of secondary guys. The one position on the team, this is why I'm not tripping about linebacker like a lot of you are. We don't play linebackers a lot. We minimize the importance of the linebacker position. Why? Because we don't have good linebackers. Or we haven't, I should say. In Carolina, the linebackers were a staple. Why? Because they had a future Hall of Famer in Luke Kuechly, and they had another perennial Pro Bowl player in Thomas Davis. And then when he started to get up there in age, they drafted Shaq Thompson, and he picked right up where Thomas Davis left off. So they always had stud linebackers in Carolina when Ron was there. It's not the case here. So what they've effectively done is they said, okay, it's not our strongest position. So what we're going to do, we're going to minimize them. We're not going to put 3 linebackers on the field. We're going to put 2 linebackers on the field. We'll put 5 defensive linemen on the field. We'll put 6 defensive backs on the field. But we'll minimize the importance that the linebacker position has in this defense. And they've done it. I can't say they've done it effectively, but they've done that. So I'm not tripping. Those guys do their job. We'll be fine. But to your point, it was a problem going into the offseason. They really didn't address it from a depth standpoint. They played musical chairs with the position, shuffling, guys in and out, but they never actually did anything that made us feel like they're trying to fix the position, other than promote Cole Holcomb, which for some of you was a feeble attempt. I'm not tripping until it's without a doubt, with no questions asked, it's a problem. That's not the case right now. We don't know what Jamin Davis year 2 looks like. I think he's poised for a big season. I think Cole Holcomb's going to settle in and he'll be fine. He's not going to be great by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he'll be fine. I'm not looking for Cole Holcomb to be an all-pro linebacker. That ship has sailed. I'm just looking for Cole Holcomb to be really solid, and when opportunities present itself, he make plays like he did against Dallas in 2020 when he blew up Zeke Elliott and sacked Andy Dalton, or when he picked off Andy Dalton right before the half, or last year where he picked off Jameis Winston and he picked off Dak Prescott and took it to the crib. When those opportunities present itself, I just want Cole Holcomb to be there to take advantage. That's all. I get it, Chase Young's burner. I get it. Michael White, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Michael White writes, so, Lou, you still on 10-plus wins, or has your confidence been shaken? I'm not moving, bro. I'm a rock over here, okay? I am not wavering. I'm not swaying. A lot of y'all be swaying side to side. Wherever the wind blow, that's where y'all go. I'm a rock, bro. I'm solid over here. Solid. Solid as a rock. I ain't going nowhere, man. Until 10, 11, or 12 isn't possible, I'm going to be singing that song all year long. All right. The minute we got 6 losses, okay, 12 isn't a possibility. Now, obviously, if we're 2-6, I'm not talking about 12, 11, or 10 wins at that point. But until, if we're 7-5, I'm talking 11-6 until we can't get 11-6. If we're 7-5, I'm like, all right, run the table. Let's do this 12-5 thing, like I've been talking about. Until it's not possible, that's what I'm rocking with. The beauty of this schedule is there's no pocket of this schedule that's not doable. Last year, there were pockets of the schedule you're like, man, I don't know, man. Like, there was a stretch there in New Orleans. Then it was Kansas City. Then it was Green Bay. And you're like, Denver kind of stinks, but still mile high on the road. Then it's Tampa Bay with Tom Brady after the bye. And so you're like, yeah, that's a stretch right there. If you ain't got your shit together before that stretch, you're probably in trouble. Because the likelihood is you're not beating Kansas City, you're not beating Green Bay, and you're not beating Tampa Bay. That's what we thought going into the season. And we're like, you might not beat New Orleans. And we didn't. We didn't. Who would have thought in that entire stretch, the one team we would beat would be Tampa Bay? Wasn't me. They're in a pocket of the schedule that looks like that this year. If you break it into sections of 4 with one section having 5, every one of these sections has winnable games where you're like, okay, we could do something with that. There's tough games, dropped in there, and my tough and your tough might look different. Every game's tough. first and foremost. But I'm talking about, hey, we're definitely not going to be favored in this game. And in my mind, I'm like, hey, we probably should lose this game. Or I go in thinking, hey, we probably not going to win this game. I don't look at Tennessee that way this year. I don't look at Green Bay that way this year. Indy doesn't scare me, even though that's a tough game. That's a trap game. Cleveland at the end of the season, San Francisco at the end of the season. These are all winnable. We don't know what those teams are going to be. All winnable football games. Again, everybody's saying the same thing about us. I have to keep reminding you this, of this. Somebody sent me a tweet today. They were pissed off because NFL Network had all of their analysts pick a winner. There were 8 of them. 6 picked Jacksonville to beat us in week 1. Only 2 picked us to win. And this guy was irate. See, I'm tired of this disrespect. And I'm like, bro, we look like food. What part of that don't you understand? We look like food. And we should. We should look like ground chuck. Everybody's like, oh, Washington, that's a good meatball. That's a good meatball. Everybody's looking at us like food. But you know what? Last year, we were looking at the schedule and nobody looked like food to us. Everybody was looking at us like, oh, we about to eat and eat good. We were over there starving. Our stomachs were touching our backs last year. When you saw, Herbert, and you saw Allen, and you saw Mahomes, and you saw Brady, and you saw Rodgers, you was like, oh, I don't know where they're going to come from. I don't know where the win's going to come from other than the division. And a win here against Matt Ryan and the Giants. And, I don't know where they're going to come from. This year, I'm looking at just about every single team on the schedule like food. It ain't a single game that I go into. Last year, there were at least 4 or 5 games like, ain't no way in hell we win in that game. Buffalo week 3, kamikaze mission. Ain't no way we win in that game. That's why I said we got to have our shit together. We need to be 2-0, but no worse than 1-1 because we not beating Buffalo in week 3 on the road. We're not beating Kansas City at the crib in week 6. And turned out that was a very winnable football game. But before the season, you're not going to Lambeau and beating the Packers. Are you crazy? You're not beating Brady and the Bucks. Home, away, it doesn't matter. You're not beating them. That's what that felt like before the season. We ultimately did win that game, but that's what it felt like before the season started. There were 4 no doubters. And then you probably could throw Dallas on the road in Dallas as a 5th. Like, we never go there and win when Dak Prescott's healthy. Speaking of which, when did we play Dallas in Dallas last year? Was that game close? No, hell no. 56-14. That game was so bad, I forgot about it. 56-14. Even the Dallas game on the road in week 4, I'm like, we might could jump up and bite their ass. I don't know if they'll have Michael Gallup back by then. They damn sure aren't going to have James Washington. They just lost their left tackle. The offensive line is in shambles. They were already struggling on the offensive line as is without the injury to Tyron Smith. The defense is not the same. They lost some pieces over there as well. I'm looking at Dallas like, hey, man, get me some silverware and a napkin and tuck in my goddamn shirt. Why I can't go to Dallas and eat? They say everything's bigger in Texas, right? Shit, let me get a big-ass piece of steak then. I'm ready to eat. I'm looking at Green Bay. They look like food. I'm looking at Tennessee. They look like food. Everybody looks like food. Again, everybody, we look like food to them as well. Okay, I have to make sure you're not confusing my confidence for cockiness and arrogance. I'm well aware we look like food to everyone else, and we should. Somebody's got to eat, man. I'm like, somebody's got to eat. Why not us? That's all I'm saying. Why not us? 12 times. Why not us? 11 times. Why not us? That's it. King of the North. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, King of the North, writes, Lou, I feel like Harris is our most overrated coach. Everyone loves him because of his high energy and personality, but have the DBs improved under him? Have we developed young DBs? Are they communicating better? These are all great points. This has been brought up several times by many of you out there. I've seen the comments about Chris Harris, who I absolutely love. And you're right. A lot of why I love him is his energy, but the production on the field doesn't necessarily match the energy. Now, that said, sometimes I think we put a lot of the onus on the coaches, and rightfully so. Look, when you develop a young talent, you get all the praise and the credit. But when you have veterans that underachieve and young guys that don't develop well under your tutelage, you get the blame. So I think it goes both ways. And so I understand that. But you say that none of the young guys have developed well under him. What about Cam Curl? Cam Curl was a seventh round draft pick in 2020, and he's been a stud for us under the tutelage of Chris Harris. Okay. I think Kendall Fuller has played well. I know a lot of you big ZD, and Kendall Fuller is one of the better number 2 corners in football. I don't know what you guys are watching. I don't know what you have against Kendall Fuller, and that's fine. If you got a grudge and an axe to grind, knock yourself out. But the facts are what they are. Kendall Fuller is a damn good corner. Okay. Outside of those two, honestly, and William Jackson III had his struggles. That was more of a personal thing. Like, he was a man guy. That's all he played. And then he came here and we asked him to play zone and he struggled for a little while. But I think he's gotten his act together. The communication, a lot of that's on the field. That's between the players. Like, you can only do so much as a coach. So I'm defending Chris Harris, but all of your points are valid. They're not falling on deaf ears. We need more out of the secondary. If he wants to be a defensive coordinator, if he wants the credit that, some people like myself feel like he deserves, then they need to play better. I think they will play better this year if they can stay healthy. All bets are off if we get banged up in the secondary. But if we stay relatively healthy, I thought I can't speak for you. I thought Benjamin St. Juste, when he was healthy last year, was phenomenal. Again, got to give him credit. If you're gonna kill him for the guys like Jimmy Moreland not working out here, and again, Jimmy was here prior to him getting here, right? We're talking about the guys that have been under his tutelage since 2020, which is when he got here. I'm talking Cam Curl. I'm talking Benjamin St. Juste. These are the young guys that have been, under his wing, and I thought they developed well. I can't speak for how you feel. I thought Danny Johnson played his best football of his career last year. Obviously, he's on our practice squad right now, but he didn't take advantage of that opportunity, going into the season this year. But I thought Danny Johnson was really good last year. So I don't know. I feel like I've seen enough of Chris Harris's impact, but there's a lot to be desired for sure. And I will say this: I need that group to step up, and by virtue of that, he needs to step up as a coach and get the most out of those guys. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, JP, writes, Lou, I would love nothing more than to wring the Eagles' necks in weeks 3 and 10 after listening to their fans talk smack and brag about their offseason for months. I want to beat those chumps so bad. You and me both, brother. You and me both. Like, if you told me, and I'm not trying to speak this into existence, or I'm not one of these guys. I don't care if we go 2-15, as long as both of our wins are against Dallas, I'm fine. I was never that guy. I was never that fan. I was the opposite. We could be 14-2, and both the losses be to Dallas. I'm fine with that. Give me the 14-2. But if you told me you're 2-4 in the NFC East this year, I'd say, all right, put those 2 wins against the Eagles. I'd hate to lose to Daniel Jones 2 more times. He's beaten us enough as it is. Dak, I'm tired of him adding to how many times he's beaten us, and Cowboys fans continuing to sing the song of Dak Prescott's 8-1 against Dallas, Washington in his career, yada, 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 whatever the record is now. I'm sick of that shit too. But these Eagles fans, they on 12, okay? And the lever stops at 10. They're on 12. Oh, I got something for their ass, though. They better hope that their boys show up and show out for them this season, because I'm going to empty the clip on their asses. Oh, the shit is going to be messy. It's going to be blood everywhere. And I'm not stopping. When I tell you I'm emptying the clip on their ass, you can be like, all right, Louie T, we played them 3 weeks ago, man. Let that shit go. No! No! I'm sicking the dogs on their ass. All right? Shit's going to be ugly. So they better beat us, okay? They better beat us. Because it's going to get ugly. In here. Oh, in here. Oh, in here. Oh. It's just going to get ugly. Anyway, I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Tony P56, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Tony P56, writes, a few days ago, I asked, what's Jon BOOMBostic doing? You sure did. There were so many people that brought up Jon BOOMBostic's name, and I swatted it away because I'm like, we already got Jon BOOMBostic on the roster. His name is David Mayo. So I wasn't tripping. He says, I'm not saying, I'm just saying he's here for depth. Am I the only one tired of familiar players and flex? Ron loves him some flex, right? Some positional flex. Ron loves that. That's the reason that Rashad Wild Goose is here. You know, love his positional flex. The familiar faces don't bother me. They don't bother me all that much, because the familiar faces that he's bringing over, these are role players. They're not guys that are brought here to be starters, or any of that, right? Other than Curtis Samuel, a lot of these guys that they've brought over, and you could bring up the 2 guards. I'm cool with them bringing in a couple of guards to play on the offensive line that don't cost you a lot, and I trust, John Masco. That doesn't bother me. Most of the guys he's brought over here, third, fourth, fifth depth, corner, guy Alex Arma, what is he? 5th, 6th tight end, like it's these guys are insignificant in the grand scheme of things. The special teams linebacker he had in 2020 that was here, then David Mayo. These guys are depth guys. They're not meant to be starters. They're depth guys. Joey Sly is another guy he brought along that he was familiar with. I'm cool with that. I don't have any problems with that. So the familiar faces don't bother me, but the positional flex, it is getting old. I understand why he wants that positional flex, but it is getting old, and there haven't been many of these positional flex guys that have actually, benefited us to this point yet, other than Wes Schweitzer. He's been the ultimate positional flex guy and Swiss Army knife that has really benefited us in ways we can't even imagine. When they signed him to that 3-year, $13 million deal, it was ho-humish. But man, has he been a godsend for us. I've already said I would re-sign him right now. He's been that valuable to us in 3 years. He's played up and down the offensive line, so it can benefit you, but that's Ron's one of his favorite sayings. Like, F.A. Obata offers us positional flex. No, he doesn't. James Smith-Williams offers us positional. No, he doesn't. He's a defensive end. So is F.A. Obata. You can't kick those guys inside. You can't reduce them to a 3-tech. Anyway, I digress. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. That's just a little pump. I only want to see Bostic when it's my Bostic stapler. Good one. Good one. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. King of the North. My guy, King of the North, writes, I think it's apparent now the fans complaining about the lack of activity in free agency were right. Ron has historically had a decent eye for corners. Not sure how involved he is in scouting here, though. So remember how free agency went. Remember, they were so hell-bent on getting a quarterback that trumped every other need that this team had. I've got my list of needs right here. 1, quarterback. 2, figure out middle linebacker. 3, free safety cornerback. 4, wide receiver. 5, O-line depth. 6, D-line depth. 7, tight end. And remember, I kept going, and I said running back is a position you could put on that list. Defensive end is a position you could put on that list. But those were way down the list, right? I told you when I get listy, I start listing things. It's usually to 7. So those were the top 7 items that I felt like we needed going into the offseason. So let's see what we did on that list. Quarterback, we traded for Carson Wentz. And put a pin in that. We'll come back and pull that pin out and we'll discuss, because that's pretty much what ties up your conversation surrounding your comment. Figure out middle linebacker. They did that. Cole Holcomb's now our middle linebacker. Free safety cornerback. They drafted Percy Butler. They drafted Christian Holmes. You may not like the fact that they drafted Christian Holmes in the 7th round, and he may not be a big difference maker, but he is on the roster. So is Percy Butler. Okay. So they did address that. Wide receiver. They took Jahan Dotson in the 1st round. So they did address that. Offensive line depth. They drafted Chris Paul in the 7th round. Again, you don't have to like it, but he made the roster. Okay. They went out and signed 2 offensive linemen. All right. So they addressed offensive line depth. Okay. So defensive line depth. They didn't do much there. And we needed defensive line depth before we went out and let go of Matt Ioannidis. We knew we weren't getting. The reason why we needed defensive line depth is because we knew we were going to lose Tim Settle. We knew that. We didn't know we were going to lose Matt Ioannidis as well. You know? So they needed to do more there. They went out and got F.A. Obata, and they drafted Fedarian Mathis. Okay. I mean, that's fine. I felt like they could have done a little bit more, but I'm not complaining about the defensive line. We're fine. I like Daniel Wise. I think we're fine. And then tight end. They drafted Cole Turner. We lucked up into Amani Rodgers, and they really like Curtis Hodges. I'd say they did that too. So, I mean, honestly, I thought it was a solid offseason considering that we ate Carson Wentz's $28 million. And so back to your initial point of the fans that were upset about free agency and the lack of activity. We didn't have any money, remember? You know? One of my favorite movies to watch when I'm going to sleep is Happy Gilmore. And he gets to his grandma's house, and he's like, "Grandma, you didn't pay your taxes?" She said, "I would have, but I didn't have any money." They would have signed more guys, but they didn't have any money. They had to cut guys just to put themselves in a position to be able to freely sign their draft picks. They didn't have any money. They were strapped for cash after Carson Wentz. We went into the offseason with $33 million, which was a lot of cap space, and Carson Wentz ate up $28 million of it. And you went from, hey, we good over here, to, damn, we hurting. So that was the lack of activity. So they did what they could with what they had. And, you know, I'm not mad at what transpired. Look, the most important thing was quarterback. Nothing else mattered. They could have went out. They could have gotten us 2 dynamic corners, could have gotten us excellent linebackers, the whole shebang. They could have done everything you wanted. And if Taylor Heineke was still our quarterback, this season, we're not talking about 12, 11, or 10 wins this season. Sorry, not sorry. So let's keep it a buck. They did what they had to do. We didn't all agree with the move, but they did what they had to do. Johnny Boy 26. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "I want our front office to be more aggressive with trades and finding key players. I'm tired of seeing trades we could have made." Again, when it comes to trades, you've got to be willing to give up what it takes to make the trade happen. From the Eagles standpoint, they're wheeling and dealing out here. They got 2 first-round picks. There are years where the Eagles leave the draft with 5 players, 4 players, and they're cool with that. You can do that when 2 of those players are being selected in the first round, or 2 of them are in the second round. You can have 4 picks, 1 in the first round, 2 in the second round, a 4th, or 2 4s, or a 4th and a 5th, and you're done. Okay, cool. You know, if that's the way your roster's set up, you don't need a bunch of depth. You don't need a bunch of guys to come in and compete. You've already got your roster pretty much set. Knock yourself out. The Eagles, they're out here wheeling and dealing. They'll trade away 2 to get 1, flip that pick, turn it into 2 more picks. And so they're playing like Monopoly right now. You know, Howie Roseman is playing around with the board. And I said it. I gave Howie Roseman all of his credit in the offseason. I said he's out here playing chess. Everybody else is out here playing checkers. Howie Roseman's out here playing chess. Because he knows Jalen Hurts is temporary. So he's positioning himself. He keeps kicking that can down the road. Jalen Hurts wasn't terrible last year. If he was, they would have done something now. And this wasn't the year to do anything. So they're like, let's just kick the can down the road again. You know, we had 2 first rounders. Let's kick the can down the road again. This wasn't the year to draft a quarterback. He wasn't terrible anyway. But they've built the roster up now to now insulate the quarterback position. If he's still not good enough, they're going to have to try to find that guy and drop him in the middle. And if they find the right guy, they could take off. And that's why they now have 2 first rounders. So, you know, and that's cool. Howie Roseman is willing to trade, you know, a 7th and a 5th or whatever. We're not willing to do that. And, you know, part of the reason they're not willing to part ways with draft capital right now is we got to give the Colts either a 3 or a 2 next year. And so you need all the picks you can get just in case you got to do something, you know, to put yourself in a position to be either aggressive or even last year, like they did with Carolina in the mid rounds, you know, trade back, pick up more picks and put yourself in a position to maximize what you think is the value of the draft, which is what they thought the first 5 rounds were going to be where the best values were going to be in rounds 3, 4, and 5. That's what Martin Mayhew said. And so he wanted to get more picks in that target zone. And he did. So I get it. You know, having a guy like Trayvon Mullen be available for a 7th round pick. Arizona was in the playoffs last year. They're thinking, all right, next step for us is winning a playoff game, maybe even, you know, trying to get to the NFC Championship game. So they may be 1 or 2 pieces away. That's not where we are. You know, we just trying to get to the playoffs. We trying to become a part of the conversation. So adding a guy going into the last year of his rookie deal and giving away a 7th round pick isn't, I don't think, smart business for a team that, you know, still trying to figure some shit out. So I don't know. I get it. I understand wanting to be more aggressive. There's a fine line between, you know, being aggressive, you know, being over aggressive and being dormant. And, you know, sometimes our organization, we seem to be on one end of the spectrum or the other. Either we're super aggressive, too much so to the point where it's overkill and it backfires, or we're not aggressive enough. And, you know, and there's a happy medium in there. Let's see. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, JP, who writes, I never got to talk about the Dotson pick. I like the selection. I begged for Olave, but after looking at Dotson's Penn State film, he's a true dog. I mean, you are in the majority. I remember draft night like it was yesterday. I was lit that night. Not going to lie to you. But I remember that night like it was yesterday. When that pick was made, I froze because I wasn't expecting him to go that soon in the draft. But he was supposed to be a first-round pick. I was thinking Green Bay, Buffalo, somewhere late first round, back in the 20s. But remember what happened to the receiver position in the draft. The kid from USC went at 8. And it popped the top on the position. And then the draft went crazy for like 5 picks on receivers. He goes at 8. to Falcons. The Jets take one of Wilson at 10. We trade out of 11. The Saints come up and get Olave. The Lions trade up to 12. They take Williams. And all of a sudden, you went from no receivers. Drake London comes off the board at 8. You go from no receivers until pick 8. And then you get to number 12, and 4 receivers are already gone off the board. Or 5, excuse me. Drake London. Both Ohio State boys went back-to-back picks. And Williams. So it was 4. 4 guys are gone, just like that. And I told you Jahan Dotson was my number 5 wide receiver in this year's draft class. And we took him as the 5th receiver. So it just caught me by surprise because our brains were wired. I was guilty, and I told you, I said, I'm guilty of this. Brain is wired. That Olave, or because we didn't, I mocked us to trade out of 11, but I didn't know if we would actually do it because fans do this all the time. Hey, if the guy we want isn't there, trade back. Well, it's easier said than done. Somebody else has to want your pick in order to make that happen. I will say this, there will always be a Chris Olave and Jahan Dotson comparison. Always. That just like Justin Jefferson, who's already blown his now teammate, Jalen Reagor out of the water, there was always going to be a comparison there because the Eagles could have had him. They took Reagor, and Jefferson turns out to be a stud. We had a chance to take Chris Olave. We traded out of that pick, allowed New Orleans to come up and get him, and we took Jahan Dotson. There will always be that conversation. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be keeping one eye over there, checking on what Chris Olave is doing for the Saints. I'm comfortable in what we have. Jahan Dotson's a pro. That doesn't mean Chris Olave is not going to be good. And so I'm anxious to see what both of these guys do, but I'm going to be keeping an eye on Olave to see what he does because he was there for the taking and we passed him up. But it was out of necessity. We needed more draft capital, and we still got ourselves a damn good receiver. So I'm not tripping. And I told everybody that night when the pick was made, hey, we're good over here. We're good over here. Like, this guy's really good. You're going to like him. And nobody wanted to hear it because he was 5'11". He was small. We already got small receivers. We don't need another small receiver. I'm like, he plays bigger than his size. My biggest knock on him, and you can go back and watch my draft prospects one-on-one breakdown of him. My biggest knock on him was getting off the line of scrimmage. And I do think that's going to be a problem for him in the NFL. And it's Scott Turner's job to put this guy in motion, move him around, and not allow teams to get jams on him. There are so many easy ways to stop a receiver from getting hemmed up at the line of scrimmage. Okay, you can go stack formations, you can go bunch, you can go motion. There are ways to get him free releases. So I'm not even tripping about that. Let's see. Matthew Goodman, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Matthew writes, all I know is Cowboys own the NFC East. Own is such a relative term. You haven't won the division 2 years in a row, just like no one else has done that in this division since 03-04, and that was the Eagles. So technically, you don't own the NFC East. You rent property just like everybody else does. Now, you have a chance to stake your claim this year by being the first team to run it back. We'll see if you can do that, but I don't think you will. If anybody wins this division, though, and it's not us, it's you. I think it's you. And I think I actually picked you to win the division. So we'll see what happens. But a lot of times with this division, the team that is picked to win it doesn't win it. And you were picked to win it. So that, a lot of people were picking us to win the division last year. And you saw what happened. I think it was really, though, a lot of people were picking Dallas and we were second. So we'll see what happens. Your number one right now. I think most people have Dallas winning the division, and those who don't have Dallas winning the division, they have Philadelphia winning the division. And you guys are clearly 1 and 2 in most people's minds, and then there's like 5 steps before you get to us or the Giants. Change the narrative. I got another super chat. This one is from Trevor Patch. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Trevor Patch writes, Lou, Trev, if we swept the Eagles, will you come to the vegan recovery clinic with me? Heard it would be serving rotisserie bird with LB turning it tragically. I'd be in attendance. I wouldn't consume any bird, but you can get me on the grill though. I'll rotisserie that bitch up. I'll shine it up, put some polish on that thing. I'll turn the little knob over there and get it nice and crispy for you. I won't sink my teeth into it, but I'll cook it up for you. I'll cook it up. I got no problems throwing on an apron and jumping in there and frying some birds up or baking them up. I'll definitely go. I'm not eating anything though. I'm sticking to this vegan diet, man. Oh man. Mike Lowry, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Mike writes, would you feel the same way if the Cowboys or the Eagles are 11-6 and we only have 6 or 7 wins? I'm not sure what you're asking me. Would I feel the same way if the Cowboys or the Eagles are 11-6 and we only have 6 or 7 wins? I don't know what you're asking me. If I would feel the same way about what exactly? I don't care what those teams do because I expect those teams to be good. If Jalen Hurts is good and Dak Prescott is healthy, I expect the Cowboys and the Eagles to be good because their schedule is similar to ours, especially the Eagles. So I can't worry about what they're doing, whether they win 12 or 13 games, 11 games. It's irrelevant. I worry about us. If we win 11, we're getting in, regardless of what everybody else does. So I don't know what you're asking me. I told you I would love if this division were all of a sudden a juggernaut and you got 3 teams with, 11, 12 wins and, battling it out for the, NFC East supremacy. That'd be great if we're in that mix. But at the end of the day, if we win anything less than 10 games, that's unsatisfactory. It's uncivilized, and I'm disappointed. I can't be happy with anything less than a 10-win season. Let's see. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, JL Smooth. 105.3 JL Smooth. Right. Lou, I know you don't care, but the NFL's YouTube game preview, 8 of 10 analysts picked the Jags to win. We just talked about that. I thought it was 8 analysts total, but 10 is probably a much rounder number. It says to win. That's infuriating to me, and I'm not a Commanders fan. He says, no respect. I know the feeling all too well. I just hope Josh Allen gets swallowed up all day. And he's talking about the defensive end, Josh Allen, because he's a beast. He wrecked shop against his Bills last year, if you recall. The Jags' Josh Allen got the best of the Bills' Josh Allen last year. It doesn't bother me one bit. It doesn't. And I know you know that feeling all too well because your Bills, you're 3 years removed from being that team that didn't get any respect. And, obviously that's turned around for you. But it doesn't bother me. I'm used to it. As a Washington Commanders fan, I'm used to not getting any respect. Analysts and pundits expecting us to lose ball games. We deserve that. We earned that. Like I can't be upset about something that we've earned. We earned the right to be disrespected. Okay. So I keep telling everybody we look like food. So when the analysts say, yeah, they do look like food and the Jags are going to eat well, I can't be upset about that. That's their opinion. But I've always said it's all about us. We got a tight-knit circle here. We got a family that we've cultivated. The MOBB, we got this. And so I believe that they're wrong. But they got to go out and prove us right and them wrong. And so if Jacksonville's going to come up this year, they got to beat teams like us. If Detroit's going to come up this year, they got to beat teams like us, and vice versa. If we're going to come up this year, we got to beat teams like Jacksonville. If we're going to come up, we got to beat teams like Detroit and Houston and Atlanta this season. So everybody can't be good, okay? Somebody's got to suck. Somebody's got to allow other teams to get to 12 and 13 victories. Somebody's got to be the punching bag. Everybody can't be 7-9 or 7-10 and 8-9 and 9-8. Everybody can't be that. Somebody's got to be 4-13. Somebody's got to be 3-14. Somebody's got to be 5-12. It won't be us. But if Jacksonville's 5-12, we better make sure that one of the 12 comes from us. If Detroit is going to be comfortable being 4-13, I don't think they will be. But if they're 4-13, hell, if they're 6-11, one of those 11 need to come from us. That's all I'm saying. So it doesn't bother me because we've earned the amount of disrespect that comes our way. The thing that does bother me is the Carson Wentz narrative, the low-hanging fruit that people decide to bite into. I'm not saying that Carson Wentz the end-all, be-all. I'm not saying that Carson Wentz. I'm not out here professing 35-5 and 4K, top 5 dead or alive, like my guy Big Money Sonny. I'm not doing that. But what I'm telling you is he's a competent NFL quarterback that's better than anything we've had since 2017. And if he were on our team last year, we'd probably make the playoffs. This is an easier schedule with a team that I think is more cohesive than it was a season ago. Ron told us before the season started last year, hey, these boys are not ready. We got an immature group here. He told us before the season started. These boys are not ready. We haven't heard that this season. It's a different squad. So I feel good about them picking. We do our best work when nobody sees us coming. I need that to change. I need people to see us coming a mile away and we still do them anyway. But we're not there yet. And so we got to take the route that is less traveled, that nobody's expecting us to come, from, and sneak up on some teams and put them to sleep. And I'm okay with that. But eventually, you need to be able to get on a bullhorn. You need to be over the intercom system telling them, hey, we about to come kick your ass. And they need to be preparing for this ass whooping and get it anyway. We're not there yet. So for the meantime, we'll settle for sneaking up on teams, sneaking up on the pundits. I'm cool with that. Thank you for the super chat, JL Smooth. Greatly appreciate you. Michael White, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. I think this is a double up for you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Michael White. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB as well. Who writes, when I look at this team, I see a top 12 offensive and a 25th ranked defensive. That, unfortunately, to me, says 8 or 9 wins. A good plus or minus might get us to 10. You are absolutely 110% spot on. If that is, in fact, where we are. 12th overall offensively and 25th. And you got to be more specific because you could be ranked 25th in the league defensively from a yards perspective, but you could be 17th in the league from a points per game given up perspective. If that's the case, you still can win 10, 11, even 12 games with that. If the offense is 12th overall ranked, but points per game, they're 7th in the league. You can still win 11, 12 games with that kind of disparity. If the points per game given up and, everything kind of matches that 25th ranking overall defensively, it's going to be too, especially like you said, if you don't make up the difference in the plus minus category with turnovers, it's just too hard. If the third down defense, if the points per game given up are, hovering around 25 and you're 12th overall, points per game offensively, yeah, you're probably going to end up in that 7, 8, 9 win category. And that's going to suck. Truly is. But, and I've said this, in order for us to do what we want to do, we need to be somewhere in that 16, 17, 18 range defensively, right? Which is put you right in the middle of the pack. We don't have to be elite. We don't have to be dominant. We just got to be average defensively, because I think the offense is going to be above average. So you can get a just an average play out of this defense. That's good enough to get us where we want to go. It's going to ultimately come back and bite us in the ass in the playoffs, but it'll get us to the postseason, and that's all you can ask for. Is a chance. So you're spot on. If we're 12th overall offensively, which puts us in the, right around the top third of the league, somewhere in that neighborhood, and you're in the bottom, you're in the bottom fourth of the league. So you're in the back quarter of the league defensively. Yeah, that's 7, 8 wins. I don't even know if that gets you to 9, honestly. That's a 7, 8 win ball club. And the plus minus, like you said, might be good for a game or two in that regard. But we got to be better defensively than 25th. If you're right about that, then you're right about your entire comment. And I'm going to be disappointed. Thank you for that super chat, Michael White. Greatly appreciate you. Melvin Glossen, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Melvin writes, hey, Lou, why do I have a feeling like we could get our hearts broken to the Jags or Lions in typical Washington fashion? Because you've seen that movie before. The only difference is that we're not using VCRs anymore, and you're not renting this from Blockbuster, and it doesn't say be kind and rewind. But you've seen this movie before. That's why. We find ways to lose these games, right? That's why we never start 2-0. That's why we never get off the fast starts, because we don't find ways to win. We create ways to lose these types of games. That's why you feel like we're going to get heartbroken in one of these first 2 weeks, because that's what we've done in the past. I'm telling you that I'm banking on us not doing that this year, because it's much easier to get beat when you can't score points. It's much easier to get beat when you can't score points, because it doesn't take much to beat you when you're losing games 20-16. Because even though the other team outplayed you thoroughly, had we scored points in that game, we don't lose to the Chargers in week 1 last year. But we didn't score enough points. We were trying to win that game 16-13. That's bullshit. You're not winning many games in this league doing that. I can't believe, I still am mind boggled that we won 2 games in a row, the exact identical score of 17-15. You know how hard it is to do in the league? First of all, to win a game with the exact score 2 weeks in a row and have it be 17 that you scored and be on the winning side of that twice in a row. You just don't do that very often in the NFL anymore. Not with the way the game's set up and how the offense has the rules, skewed to their direction. And it's hard to score less than 24 points and put yourself in a position to win consistently. We haven't been scoring up over 24 points in the last 5 years or so. We probably haven't averaged more than 24 points since I'd go back to say 2016. I don't even think we averaged 24 points in 2017 in Kirk's final year here. So that's why I think it's going to be different. I think we can score. And a lot of times bad teams don't score a lot of points. When Detroit almost beat Baltimore, the score was 19-17. They Baltimore had to kick a field goal to beat them 19-17. When the Vikings almost lost to the Lions and they had to get that last second field goal when Kirk told his then head coach, Mike Zimmer, I just saved your job. How do you like that? I think that score was something like, like 19-16 or something like that, 19-17 again, or something. It was low scoring. Like that's how you allow bad teams to beat you, is you don't score points. Rarely do bad teams outscore teams 38-34. The Lions and the Jaguars aren't. When they beat the Bills last year, the Jags, it was a 9-6 game. The Jags aren't scoring 38 points and out pointing you in games. You got to play down to their level. That's why I think we're going to have more success this year, because I think we can score points, and bad teams don't score points in bunches. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I might be dead ass wrong about this offense. We might be the same lame ass crew that can't score any points, and we're allowing teams to hang around and ultimately beat us. And I might have the game all twisted up. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy Trev writes, Lou, Trev, we will see a good amount of RPO. Watching Cole's tape, I think he will struggle with decisions on high-low and QB pulls like BOOMBostic in 2020. I just think we struggle with read option in general. We didn't defend it well against Daniel Jones. We didn't defend it well against Jalen Hurts. We're going to see it against Marcus Mariota more likely than not. We're going to see it against Ryan Tannehill and the Titans. We're going to see it against Hurts twice. You may even see Dak run a little bit of it. He doesn't run it as much as he used to early in his career, but you're going to see that you're definitely going to see it with Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields in weeks 1 and 6. That's for certain. So that does worry me. That does concern me for sure. We have not been great. And I hope that Chase Young is back by the time we get to Justin Fields, because we need athleticism for guys like him. Trevor Lawrence is another guy that's a tremendous athlete. You got to be disciplined. And I worry about these athletic quarterbacks that are littered up and down our schedule. It does concern me, because we have not defended read option and RPOs well over the years. It just has been something that's been a thorn in our side. So I am concerned, but I'm going to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to be negative. I'm a positive guy. I'm going to give everyone the benefit of the doubt that deserves it. And I think Cole Holcomb deserves the benefit of the doubt. Certain guys won't get any, leeway with me, because they haven't earned anything. They haven't built up any equity with me. Cole Holcomb has built up quite a bit of equity with me. So I'm going to give him an opportunity to show me that he can get it done. Okay. Jamin Davis is a puppy. So I'm not killing him for a rookie campaign where they overloaded his brain and tried to make him play a position that he really wasn't naturally suited to play. He's where he's supposed to be now. And they uncluttered his mind and said, hey, you're playing this position and this alone. Focus on this. I think he's going to be better. So, I give guys, the space they need to operate that have earned that ability and right with me. Some guys haven't. And so we'll see, how, we fare in that department. But we've struggled. That's an understatement. And I am worried about the mobile quarterbacks on our schedule. Let's see. Miss Perry, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My girl, Miss Perry, writes, Condo P. Smash the like button, please, and thank you. I appreciate you for the public service announcement, and I will take this opportunity to also implore you to hit that like button, subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content if you haven't already done so, and also turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. We're about to turn it up. Regular season is about to start, so all of your favorites are about to come back over the next week or so. So go ahead and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Also, if you are interested, and I'll do a live video on this down the road, but if you're interested in any of the Louie T Network exclusives, the Soul Survivor Pool, Winners and Losers League, or Weekly Pick'em Pool, all of the links to those are down in the description of this video. If you need assistance as to how to play, There are videos out there. Just go through the archives. You will find them, or you can just go to the playlist that says LTN updates. So check those out if you need help. But the links to signing up for those leagues down in the description as well. Thank you for that, Miss Perry. And we're up over 200 likes, so I'm already loving that. Now let's push it up over 3. There are over 530 of you out there. Let's push that like total up to over 300, if at all possible. All right. Moving right along. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, King of the North, writes, Tillman played well under Coach Harris. St. Juice did too. Who is Tillman? The only Tillman I know is Peanut Tillman. Are you referring to him? But I think Coach Harris is fine. I get a lot of, and I've heard a lot of this recently. Like, this has become a thing. Like, this guy's overrated. We're praising him too much. This secondary isn't as good, and he's getting too much credit for a subpar group of players. I got no response to that. I got no rebuttal other than I think a little bit higher of the secondary than you do if you feel that way, but they need to be better. I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting that at all. Steven Kinsler, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Steven, writes, what up, Lou? I'm late, not sure if this was asked, but is Bostic a better linebacker than Landon Collins? I know he's not a linebacker, but damn what he did late last season. Of course he's not a better linebacker than Landon Collins. Well, first of all, they're two different types of guys. Like, Bostic, I think, is more comfortable in the middle of the defense as a middle linebacker, signal caller, smart guy. He's cerebral. That's why he's still in the league right now. Everybody will tell you he's been with the Colts. He's been with the Steelers. He's been with Washington. He's been around around the block several times, and everyone says the same thing. Dude's super intelligent. He studies. He understands. He just doesn't make plays. But he knows what's about to happen. He just doesn't get there and make the play. So that's the frustrating part about Jon BOOMBostic. But Landon Collins is more of an outside linebacker to me, and he was outstanding last year in that Buffalo nickel role. No, he's not better than Landon Collins, but I think they have, and I think this is what frustrates a lot of fans, is I think they have a bit of a grudge against Landon Collins. And I think they're being petty. And sometimes you need to put that shit aside. Now, Landon has to understand that if you're here, you're not a safety. That's not how we view you. We view you as a Buffalo nickel. Now, we could call you a safety, but you're going to be playing at Buffalo nickel. And if you're uncomfortable being called a linebacker, because that's essentially what you are, then we can't have you. Like, we don't want it to be like pulling teeth to get you to be on board with this. And that's how it felt last year. And I think that's part of the reason why once he didn't want to take that second pay cut and they cut him loose, they weren't interested in bringing him back. But if we're being honest with one another, he's way better than Milo Eifler or Jon BOOMBostic or any other player that they could be considering bringing in for depth purposes. But again, he doesn't see himself as a linebacker. He wants to be included in the safety room. Well, we've already got 5 safeties. He wants to be in that mix, not in the linebacker room. He wasn't, remember, last year he wasn't in linebacker meetings. He made sure he told us, I'm not in the linebacker meetings. I'm still a safety. So they don't want to deal with that shit. He's been his worst own enemy in that regard. If he would have just swallowed his pride and say, hey, I'll do whatever they want me to do. I'll call myself whatever, anybody wants to call me. As long as I'm out here making plays, that's all that matters. He'd be here in Washington. But that's not the attitude that he's had. And so he needs to humble himself. They need to also humble themselves. Ron's been talking about being humble this year. Both sides need to humble themselves and come to an agreement that, hey, we need each other. We can't say that we need him yet, He definitely needs us. He doesn't have a job. But we may ultimately need him. And I don't think they're going to swallow their pride and say, hey, Landon, why don't you come on home, man? I don't see them doing that. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red Wings 01 writes, to quote urinating tree, there is only one thing worse than a Philadelphian, an arrogant Philadelphian. Wentz got to teach them dirty birds their place. Man, I mean, they showed their true colors this offseason. I mean, they showed their ass. And look, I'm not innocent in all of this. You know, I poked the Eagles' nest last year when I was talking cold hard cash down the stretch. You know, we had 5 division games left and we had won 4 in a row. And obviously, I didn't know what was waiting around the corner for us. I didn't know the bottom was about to drop out of our season and the Cowboys were going to abuse us. We were going to get injured and we were going to get COVID all at the same time. I had no clue that was coming. But it didn't stop me from talking cold hard cash. And ever since then, they've been jumping down my damn, throat, and that's fine. I had no problems with it. Because if you're going to talk big shit, you got to be willing to take, the repercussions if your team don't back your shit up, which is why I don't like betting on my team in any sport. I don't like betting because I don't have any control over the situation. I'll talk shit all day. It don't cost me anything to talk shit. That's free. So I'll talk shit all day. But unless I am super confident to the point where I'm guaranteeing, I usually don't like betting on anything because I don't have any control over it. I only like betting on me. So, but these Eagles fans, they've been on 12 this year, right? And they don't even know me. That's the thing. If you know me, you know how I operate, you know how I feel, and you wouldn't even be talking shit to me. But it's a lot of these fans that they just showed up for the roundtable discussion. They just come into the party. They don't know me. Like, hey, you don't call me Louie T. You don't know me. You don't call me Lou. You don't know me. You don't get to call me by a nickname. I'm not saying that for real. I'm just saying, you know how somebody thinks they're comfortable enough to call you a family nickname? You're like, bro, you don't know me like that. You don't, we're not cool enough for you to be making jokes about me. We don't rock like that. I mean, they've been coming after me. I'm like, okay. Just know that if this shit goes sideways for y'all, and there's a high probability that it will, just know I'm putting my foot on the gas and I'm not easing up. I mean, the shit's going to be to the point where y'all might be like, hey, Louie T, chill, bro. Chill. Some of y'all might be like, all right, man, ease up, bro. Ease up. Nah, ain't no easing up. They F with the wrong dude. I ain't no killer. But don't you push me. Well, they done pushed my ass. So I'm triggered. They better take care of business. If they take care of business, I'm going to give them credit. I'm going to do it reluctantly, but I'm going to give them credit. But if they don't, they're going to have problems on their hands. Courtesy of me, your man, Louie T. I'll make sure of it. And you can take that one to the bank. Deposit that bitch. That check won't bounce. Take command for life. Thank you for super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, now that the season is starting, I'm done lurking. Hey, that's the best time to come out and play. It's when the season is upon us and we could talk ball. All this shit we've been talking, which is why I've been done talking. Like, I didn't really get into much with those Eagles fans. When LB wants to do one of these posts, bringing up some shit and trying to, paint me in a light where his Eagles, clowns can come out and talk shit. I told them, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, I said, I'm done talking to y'all. Like, we're talking in circles now. I got nothing else to say. I've said everything that I want to say. I've said how I feel about Howie Roseman. I said how I feel about Jalen Hurts. I've said how I feel about Carson Wentz. I said how I think your season is going to go. I said how I think our season is going to go. I got nothing else to say on that matter. Okay? It's enough talking. Now it's time for action. Time for some action. Time for some action. So I'm done rapping with those dudes and talking in circles. We'll see them in week 3. All right, we got games before that. They're not week 1. I'm worried about Jacksonville. And then after Jacksonville, I'm worried about Detroit. Then we will talk Philadelphia. We'll have plenty of time to talk about their dirty, stinking asses. Plenty of time. But I'm worried about Jacksonville right now and trying to get to 1-0 for the first time since 2020 and over 500 for the first time since 2020. Okay? That's what I'm trying to do. So, anyway, I'm glad that you're done lurking. It's about that time. It's about that time. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Red Wings 01, who writes, as it sits right now, how do you feel about the 53 plus the practice squad? I feel good. You know, I'm not Stephanie Mills. I don't feel good all over, right? But I feel good. I'm more confident in the offense than I am the defense. I'm not as down on the defense as a lot of you are. A lot of you have already cast this defense in a negative light, think they're going to suck and that they're going to hold this team back. That could come to fruition, okay? But I'm not willing. My thing is, and I told you, I don't overreact to the preseason. And neither should you. But I can't tell you how to feel. But I can just tell you this. Defensively, even in the preseason, even when we were giving up third down conversions, I thought that just getting the third downs, I thought that was good. Like, I get it. That's like giving out a participation sticker. We're not looking to get close. A wise woman told me, almost doesn't count. Almost doesn't count. I'm aware of this. This is not horseshoes. You do not get a gold sticker for getting the third down. You get a gold sticker for getting off the field on third downs. I'm aware of that as well. But I like the fact that we were getting to third downs. When you're a bad defense, you don't get to third downs. You're giving up first downs on first downs. You're giving up first downs on second down. You're not even getting to third downs with a chance to get off the field. We had the Chiefs and we had them consistently in third and medium to third and long. We just didn't get off the field. And these were some heroic efforts by Patrick Mahomes, mind you. And again, it's a preseason. I liked what I saw in the preseason games, personally. The reason that the defense gave up so many third downs is because they were in so many third downs. You can't get off the field on third down if you're not getting the third down. I'm going to assume that when they start game planning and they start seeing the things that teams want to do and they tick those things away on third downs, that they'll get off the field, but you got to get to third downs first. So I feel good about the offense. I feel better than most about the defense. I got my concerns, obviously. And the practice squad is solid. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't love our practice squad. But it's okay. It'll do for now. I'm not chomping at the bit like, oh, man, if we have some injuries and we got to pull some guys up, we're fine. No, not exactly. You know, I'll tell you this. I don't feel bad pulling up Danny Johnson off the practice squad. I don't feel bad pulling up Corn Elder off the practice squad. Truth be told, I'd much rather have those guys on the active roster than the young boys. The only thing I can say is I don't know what to expect from the young boys. I don't know what Tariq is going to do. I don't know what Mr. Wild Goose is going to do. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But all in all, I feel really good about this roster. We still got a ways to go in terms of building this thing up, but it's a process. When Ron first got here, we were terrible. We were one of the worst rosters in football. We're a far cry from that now. You know, we're not even close to that. So we're trending in the right direction. Michael White, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. I think you've already doubled up, but we're going to do it anyway. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Michael White. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, That was an overall ranking. If the defense is ranked 15th or 16th overall, we will win this division because the offense is going to be banging. I know it was the overall ranking. What I'm saying is inside of that overall ranking is that encompassing scoring defense, third down defense. You know, if you're saying, oh, all of those are across the board 25th, yeah, no, that you're spot on. You got it. We're not going to win 10 games with that kind of defensive effort. If opposing offenses are converting at a 47.6% clip on third downs against us, which is what'll put you in the 25 to 27 range, then yeah. I mean, if you're giving it up on, damn near 50% of your third downs, the league average is just a shade under 40, 38%, somewhere in that neighborhood. If you're hovering around 50, yeah, chances are you're going to be a bad defense and you're giving up points, because if teams are converting at a clip that high, they're getting into, at bare minimum, field goal range. So that's another thing that's important, red zone defense. You can give up yards, you can give up first downs, but if you can find a way to keep teams out of the end zone, you'll give yourself a chance to win football games. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Gerard Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Gerard Johnson writes, how Fitzpatrick get more love than Carson? Crazy. Gerard, ding, ding, ding. I don't know. I mean, you should have seen people fawning over this football team last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick. And last year, I was losing my shit because Washington fans were so convinced that Ryan Fitzpatrick was going to have this late career resurgence, and all of a sudden the turnovers were going to disappear and he was going to be making these magical plays and he was going to lead us to somewhere that we hadn't been. I'm like, it's Ryan effing Fitzpatrick. The guy's never played in a playoff game. What are you talking about? And now Carson Wentz is like trash, and there's no way we can win with him, but we were going to win with Ryan Fitzpatrick against that schedule? This shit just doesn't make sense to me. Help me make sense of that. Help me make sense of this. I don't know, Gerard. We here, man. We're here. Because that's the thing that has bothered me. That's why I'm not upset if people don't believe in Carson Wentz. Shit, I'm still not 100% on Carson Wentz. I get that. I'm not saying Carson Wentz is the second coming of Joe Theismann for this organization. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he's better than anything we've had. The schedule is as good as it's going to get. You can't ask for a better setup. And we had a murderer's row schedule, a journeyman 18-year quarterback last year, or whatever, 15, 16 years, whatever Fitzpatrick was on last year, that's never led a team to the playoffs. And somehow that team was supposed to be competing with the Rams for a shot at going to the Super Bowl. That's how some people were talking about us. Rich Eisen, hey, look out for the Commanders with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's Ryan effing Fitzpatrick. Did I miss something? Did I go to sleep? Did I bump my head? And did this man become Rich Gannon or Kurt Warner overnight? And did I wake up and miss 2 or 3 years? Is there a gap here that I'm unaware of? I feel the same way about Kurt. Like, did I miss something with Carson Wentz? I get it. He didn't play well down the stretch last year. But did I miss something? When did he become worse than Tua Tagovailoa? And when did he become worse than Justin Fields? When is he in the same breath with Justin Fields and Davis Mills and these low bottom tier quarterbacks? When did he become one of these guys? I missed that memo. I don't know. We on the same wavelength, Gerard. I know that much. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, King of the North, writes, my bad, Darby, not Tillman. Okay, I was like, Tillman? You talking about a different team? We haven't had a Tillman here ever. Yeah, Tillman. Darby, yeah, and Darby was good for him. And remember, Darby was on his career was on his deathbed when we signed him. So again, I think he's done really well. You know, can he do better? Absolutely. Do we need him to do better? Yes. But overrated, he's still a defensive backs coach. I don't know why he's overrated. I don't understand. Like, to me, overrated was Bill Callahan here. He's been good everywhere else. But the system with him and Gruden, it didn't fit. That was overrated to me. I thought he got a lot out of Eric Flowers, though. He helped turn his career around. But he was overrated here. Our run game always sucked. Always. Let's see. The Q-Bone. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy Q. Jacksonville Jaguars fan here, guys, that we're about to be talking with. Love my guy Q. They're looking at us like food. They're expecting a win in week 1. I haven't read his comment, but I'm pretty sure some form of, hey, it's going to be a good game, but we're expecting a win. That's what's coming here. Let's see. What's up, Lou? What's up, Q? Says week 1 is just around the corner, and I can't wait. Me either. Bart Scott. Can't wait. From your perspective, what do you think is the one thing Jacksonville has that makes you worried to go up against them? By the way, I've got the Jags winning 28-24. I told you he was going to say, hey, I got us winning. They should have themselves winning against us. Why would if I were a Jags fan, I would have us beating Washington. So I get it. So the thing, and I'm going to really dive into this next week, during the nightly show, right? But I can just tell you this. The one thing that scares me the most about Jacksonville right now is Trevor Lawrence's athleticism and ability to vacate the pocket. I mean, I'm nervous about our lane, rush lane discipline. I'm nervous about read option. I saw in the not the Hall of Fame game, but the game against Pittsburgh, I seen him pull a read option and haul ass for like 20 yards. That shit scares me because I know we're not disciplined in that department. That's why Daniel Jones has a field day against us running the football. That's why Jalen Hurts has had success against us. We do not handle read option well. And so I am nervous about that right now. I'll have a boatload of other things to discuss as we get closer to the game. But I am definitely nervous about Trevor Lawrence's legs and his ability to extend the play and our ability to plaster the receivers once the pocket has been broken. We saw that. Again, it's a preseason game, but we've seen that in regular season games too, where that's, hurt us as well. So right off the top of my head, that's the thing that I'm very concerned with at this current juncture. Let's see. Carlton Bogano Jackson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy CPJ writes, what's up, Lou? What's up, CPJ? 11-6. I don't care how we do it as long as we win. Amen, brother. Amen, bro. Amen. You ain't said nothing but a word. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if the offense carries us, the defense carries us. I don't care if we got the 31st ranked defense in the league, but the offense is scoring over 30 a game, and that's how we win in shootouts. I don't give a shit. I know that's not sustainable. And, that model will get you beat and bounce from the playoffs in the first round. I don't care. Sign me up. I'm just trying to win ball games, man. By hook or by crook. By any means necessary. So I'm right there with you, man. CPJ. I'm right there with you. All right. So that was the last comment. I was waiting for somebody to bring this up. I thought somebody would bring it up. Nobody brought it up. You guys might have been talking about it in the comment section. I'm pretty sure you were. You guys are astute. Okay, you're all over this stuff, but we had ourselves a situation today at practice, one that we didn't see coming. We were blindsided today. You show up 53-man roster, you know, all the pictures from practice come out, and they're like, hey, here's the 53 right here. And Cam Curl's in a sling. When that happened? I don't recall him playing in the Ravens game. And last time I checked, he was fine after the Chiefs game. What happened? Now, look, anything that's posted on the internet and we turn into detectives, we're all sleuths, right? Immediately upon seeing the first picture, and I think my first picture was Ben standing that I saw. He had his arm in a sling, but it looked like it was just really his thumb that was in a cast and elevated. So my guess is that he's got a thumb injury. Maybe he broke his thumb. Maybe he dislocated his thumb. Yeah. Generally, you're not having your entire arm in a sling for a dislocated thumb. It's probably broken. To which I say, okay, put a club on the bitch and I'll see you week 1. Let's hope that it's not serious. I never want to see a guy in a sling. I'm hoping that him in a sling is the upper body version of a dude leaving a game in an air cast. And you're like, oh, shit. He just sprained his ankle. They're just taking the pressure off of his foot. He doesn't want crutches. He's in an air cast. He's fine. He'll be all right. Let's just hope that that's what this is. And being that he's got 2 weeks to heal, he'll be ready to rock. I'd prefer him to not have to wear a club, but if they've got to put some kind of, wrap on his hand or a club on his hand to get him to play, so be it. We need him out there. We need him out there. So that was, interesting. It could turn into important real quick, but it's interesting right now. Ron wouldn't elaborate. He's like, I don't have to give you an injury report until next Wednesday, so I'm not. Okay, cool. I'm not mad at you for that. Not mad at all. We don't need to know, what's wrong with him. I just need to know that he's going to be okay enough to play. Generally speaking, I don't really, with football players, they're tough, man. They're a different breed. Upper body injuries, for the most part, they usually play with those, like hand and wrist and things. As long as it's not broken, especially if it's a hand and you don't have to have your hand, like you're not a receiver or running back. Defensive players a lot of times play with broken hands. So if it's just his hand, and hear me, just his hand. It's not my hand, right? That's broken. If it's just his hand, I expect him to play. But we'll see. Right now, it's interesting because we still got a full week and some change to go before our first game against the Jaguars. But that shit can turn from interesting to important real quick. We get to that injury report next Wednesday, and Cam Curl's not practicing on Thursday with a fractured forearm. Yeah, okay, shit's changed. That's a really important injury. So we'll see what it is. I know that much. Anyway, I digress. Carlton Pagano Jackson, my guy CPJ. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you, CPJ writes. Yeah, I'm with Luck on this one. I got time, LOL. You're with Luck on what? Is Luck being petty? Carlton Pagano Jackson, once again, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy CPJ writes. Luck said we're not leaving this stream. Okay, I thought that's what you were referencing. Luck is usually on that kind of time. I'm gonna guess Luck is on the West Coast. That's just a guess. Luck could be on the East Coast because I think he goes to games quite often. So he might just be on the East Coast chilling. You know what I'm saying? But I know my guy Big Money Sonny's on the West Coast. I do know that. Hunter Hodovic, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Hunter Hodovic, writes, Sup, T? Sup, Hunter? Says, I'm just excited for football season to officially be back just got done with my fantasy draft. No more preseason. Feels good, man. A lot of people just getting done with their fantasy football draft. My buddy, a buddy of mine plays in like 3 or 4 different fantasy leagues. I don't know how he does it, but he eats that stuff up. And then I got another guy. He's not necessarily. He's more of an acquaintance. I mean, that's his livelihood. That's what he does. He's nasty at it. So, fantasy is big. I've told you guys stories about how the lay fan and the guy that's not even interested in football will be sucked into fantasy football. It's at almost every job. There's a fantasy football league, and half of the league has no idea who these players are. So, fantasy football is just as big, if not bigger, than the NFL games itself. The fantasy is probably more important than actual games on the field for a lot of people. So it's crazy, man. I hate the fact that I don't love fantasy football. I wish I was more enthralled by fantasy football because it's big business. There's money to be made there, but I'm not a fantasy football guy. I can't get into it. It goes against every principle I stand for, but I'm glad you had your draft, and I hope you made some great picks. I don't know if you're in a, PPR league or if you're in one of these forever leagues. Those seem like more fun than just drafting every year, but having guys hold over from the year previous and having it cost you a certain amount to hold on to them and things of that nature. Those seem like more fun than just going out and drafting each year over and over again. But anyway, I digress. Good to hear from you, Hunter. And I, like you, am so excited for football to be back. Even college football this weekend. I'm excited. Like I didn't pay attention to that week 0 stuff. Florida State's playing against Duquesne. Like, what am I supposed to do with that shit? Did you see the guy with the pants on the Duquesne sidelines, by the way? I mean, what are we doing? That's what happens when you're playing against Duquesne, which is why I can't watch. But I'll be watching this weekend. That's for damn sure. Anyway, feels good. CPJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Carlton Pagano Jackson writes, I'm on the West Coast time too, and the kids are asleep. Today, I got time, cuz. See, that's what it is. When you're on the West Coast, the time difference hits different. It hits a lot different for you. So you're like, oh shit, I'm good. It's 9:40. Kids are in bed. Oh, I'm chilling. What we talking about next? People on the East Coast like, hey, look, man, I gotta go to bed. So it hit different. The further west you go, the more likely it is somebody's like, yo, what we talking about next? Anyway, Luck, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Luck, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, writes, what if there were only 49 states? Have you ever walked into a wall? What is blue? No, sir. We in Baltimore. Oh, he's like, no, I want the East Coast, bro. Hey, those are all questions you ask yourself when you are high, which I am not. But it takes a different level of consciousness to ask, what is blue? Like, you either got to be in a really calm state. And I've never been high. I've never smoked. My wife is like, bro, I got to get you to take an edible, at least an edible. I'm like, nah, that's not my thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm a square when it comes to that stuff. But there have been times where I've looked at the sky and I've said, why is the sky blue? The thing that I do, the dumb thing that I do all the time is I stare at a word long enough until it doesn't look like the word that it is, and it doesn't make any sense when you look at it. Have you ever stared at the word the long enough and it doesn't even look like the anymore? It's like tee-hee. You're like, what? Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, I digress. Carlton Pagano Jackson, I know what you were doing there, Luck. I know what you were doing. Okay. CPJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Carlton Pagano Jackson writes, when you coming out to Portland, Lou, we got a few HTT fam out here. So I'll let you in on a secret. I was planning, like, before COVID, I had this mastermind plan, and I may ultimately do this one, down the road. And I don't have to get into specifics, but I had an idea for a show where I would, would tape the show in different locales, and I would travel to different states, and I'm not big enough to do that yet. You know what I mean? But in my mind, like I want to get to a point where I can do that and hit different areas around the country and have people come out, and I could shoot shows at different locations and things of that nature. So that was something that, and I still would like to do that eventually. But I'm not gonna lie to you, all of this stuff is kind of shaking me and my family to the core a bit, and we're a lot less likely to go out and mingle amongst folks, and I'm a lot more apprehensive than I was before, obviously. So eventually I may get into doing that show that I have thought of, but I told you I'm interested in meeting all of you guys, because I told you, until I actually meet you, until I actually see you, like I know how you look. I've seen you. I follow you on social media, so I know what you look like. I know what your family looks like, all of that good stuff. But a lot of you, I don't know what you look like. I don't know that, so I have to make up what you look like in my head. So I would like to be able to put a face to the name. So it should be fun. Anyway, I digress. Luck, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Luck, who writes, I am also stoned, drinking a coffee, 1 a.m. And now, again, those are the questions you ask yourself when you are blazed. Okay, put on some Erykah Badu. I've always envisioned being high, me playing some Erykah Badu with like red lights and just kicking back and just letting Erykah do the rest. And then Erykah just hit the beat. And I'm just lounging back. That's how I envision it, but I'm too much of a chicken to do it. I'm too much of a punk. Anyway, I digress. Hunter Hodovic, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy Hunter Hodovic writes, he's right, T. I'm in Portland area too. We got to get you out here, or I'll get my butt out there. Either way, hope to meet you one day. I'm gonna make my way. So my wife she's vowed to take me out west. She's from out west. I've never been west of Ohio, so I got a lot of traveling to do, and I plan on having that occur. So you probably won't have to come out here. I'll make it out that way eventually. So it's good to know that there are a lot of you out that way. I didn't know it was so many of you. I mean, just the Portland area, just 2 of you in Portland alone. That's interesting. Anyway, I digress. Carlton Pagano Jackson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy CPJ writes, by the way, Lil Man loved his Scary Terry shirt for his birthday. He's on board. Didn't have a choice. LOL. Well, that's good to know that he didn't have a choice. I'm glad he loved it. He needs to embrace it. If he doesn't have a choice, you might as well not rebel. Just don't fight it. Embrace it. So that's awesome. And I'm glad he enjoyed his birthday, man. That's excellent stuff. I'm glad to hear it. All right. Commander Wow. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Commander Washington, or Women of Washington. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, DMV and DMV M&G is a must. I know the wows will be there. What is M&G? I'm curious. What is that? Help me. I'm not from the DMV, so you gotta excuse me if I'm not up on the lingo, or like I don't know what M&G is. Help me. And I might be being slow right now. Anyway, I digress. All right. Thank you for another great show. You guys are awesome. This is the last Command Post live, as we will now transition into the nightly news. So be on the lookout for that. This was a great off season. I had a lot of fun, but now it's about to get real. Okay, time to put all of that off season shit away. All of the conversations about the draft and what we should have done, that shit is in the rearview mirror now. As far as I'm concerned, it's time to turn this shit up. No, seriously, turn it up. Okay. We've talked about this season. I haven't talked this reckless in years. I mean, maybe ever. Okay. I don't know if I've been this confident about winning in a very long time. And I've had a lot of people call me names, tell me I was crazy. And they're not wrong for feeling like I'm crazy. Sometimes I'm like, bro, like after something gets thrown at me, another thing gets thrown at me with this team, I'm like, bro, you really still think they're going to win 12, 11, 12 games? You really think that's going to happen? And not one time have I questioned myself. Even when that little fleeting thought comes across, damn, they got 4 corners and the 4th one is Christian Holmes. You really think they're going to win 12 games? Yep. I damn sure do. Brian Robinson got shot twice and you don't know when he's coming back. You still think they're going to win 12 games? Yep. Sure do. I've been on this hill and I'm dying on this hill, bro. I'm dying on this hill. I've never been prepared to die on a 12-win hill with this organization. Never. Never. Not 2000 when we went out and got Mark Carrier and Bruce Smith and Deion Sanders, Jeff George. Not even then, coming off of a 10-win season in 1999 where we should have been in the NFC Championship game. I wasn't even talking reckless going into 2000. I wasn't talking reckless after 05. I wasn't talking reckless after 07. Damn sure not after 07 after Gibbs decided he was done. It's time to put all that shit away. It's go time. I'm excited. So next week, we're getting after it. I'm so looking forward to that. I'm so looking forward to it. Anyway. Abel Ambrosio. Excuse me. Ambrosio. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Abel Ambrosio. Double A. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB writes. What up, Lou? It says, who you see win a chip, Grizz or Washington? I see the Grizzlies winning before Washington Commanders do. And my Grizzlies have been in the playoffs now 2 years in a row. So they've gotten that experience that you have to have in basketball. They had the second best record in basketball. And in the NBA, you have to have a superstar. And then you have to have another guy. And then you have to have a supporting cast that knows their role. And I feel like we have that. I don't know if that other superstar exists in Memphis yet, but I do believe if he's healthy, Jaren Jackson Jr. is a good enough player to be that next guy. And then Jaws, rise to superstardom, and then the rest of the team, Desmond Bane is another guy that he's right there. Like, I love him. Core piece. And we're continuing to build. I just see that Grizzlies team being dangerous. We don't have that in Washington. There's no Ja Morant on the Washington Commanders. We don't have that guy. Ja's the equivalent of a quarterback, a star quarterback. We don't have that. So I go with the Grizzlies. They're young. They're hungry. They remind me of my Braves. And we just won the World Series. So, yeah, it'd be Grizz all day. Alex, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Alex writes, come out to California next year for the Rams game. I got to get out to Cali. My wife is from Cali. So she's from Denver. She's from Cali. She's from all over the West Coast. So she's like, I got to get you out there. And Denver's more of the mountain time zone, right? But all of that shit, it's a hop, skip, and a jump. So I'm going to try to get out there. I want to experience, LA and San Diego and all of that stuff. And I will eventually. Oh, Commander Wow. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up rights. Last one, meet and greet, Lou. Got you. The DMV M&G is a meet and greet. Touche. That one went shoo right over my head. I got you. Thank you for that clarification. Luck, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Luck writes, does the word moist disturb anyone anymore? Cotton balls. Moist was never a problem for me. And neither was cotton balls. So again, that's a high thing, Luck. Moist is that word can get a little troublesome. Moist can, but when I think of moist, I think about like cake. Like, that cake was so moist. Like, I make carrot cake every year. You guys have seen my carrot cake. I did a video, I think it was last year for Thanksgiving. And my carrot cake is so moist, right? It melts in your mouth. Pause. So moist is not a problem for me. But anyway, I digress. I can't with y'all. Luck, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, why does bubbly sound so cool? I think you have to say it and make it sound cool. Like if you just like, yeah, I'm going to go pour me up some bubbly. That's not cool. But if you're like, yeah, I'm about to go pour me up a little bit of bubbly. It takes on a different meaning, right? Sounds a lot cooler if you say it cool or you say it in a goofy way. But if you just say it normal, bubbly, I just said bubbly. That doesn't sound cool. But you spice it up a bit. Yeah, it does sound a little fun, right? Anyway, Miss Perry, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Condo P, who writes, gotta get in on the petty tonight. It's a lot of it going on between CPJ and Luck. The petty train is strong tonight for sure. Look at you jumping in on it, Condo P. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy JP writes, Lou, you need to come to New Jersey so I can meet you in person. Again, I told you, my vision is to have that show and travel around and do different episodes in different locales. It won't be in every state. Again, I'm not popping like that, but find a neutral site that can get to 3 or 4 different states. And I have to have a big enough following in that area that people can, get to that place to justify me going there. I don't want to show up somewhere, travel, get there, and only 8 people come out. That's not my idea of being efficient. So obviously, I got to understand the demographics and know that I've got viewers there that will come out and support, and I'll make that happen. So I don't think that would be a problem for that Jersey, New York area. I think there are a lot of people up there that support the Commanders, and even if they're not a fan of the Commanders, they still support the LouieTeeNetwork. So I don't think that one would be all that tough at all. Definitely looking forward to chopping it up with you, JP. My guy, CPJ, thank you for the super chat once again. Greatly appreciate you. Colton Pagano Jackson writes, yeah, Luck, I'm rolling up one myself. We here till you force us out, Lou. Hey, I'm I'm here as long as y'all keeping me here. It's so many of y'all that's lighting up right now. Wow. I'm impressed and at the same time surprised. I realize there was so many of y'all. Oh, J Mish 913 says moist is gross. Why is maybe the word moist takes on a different connotation for a female? I just never saw it in that light. Carlton Pagano Jackson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy CPJ writes, Cherry, we lit. Cherry Squad. Shout out to the Cherry Squad, man. Y'all have taken on a life of your own. And I love y'all to death. Y'all are awesome. So shout out to the Cherry Squad. Miss Perry, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My girl Condo P writes, appreciate all of you. And you know what? We appreciate you, Miss Perry. So I was going to do this next week, but I'm not going to wait because I don't know if you have something planned. I don't know if I don't want to wait too late just in case it's not something that's feasible for you. But it's only right if the first tickets that we give away for the season are given to Condo P. So everybody out there, give it up for Condo P. She is going to the Jags game if she wants to. Now, you may have something planned. You may not want to go. And if you don't, all you have to do is say the word, and we will do the drawing as normal for the upcoming game. But if you want the tickets, they are yours. To Jags Commanders Week 1, it is only right that the secretary of the Louie T Network be taken care of. So Condo P, I know you're out there. The tickets are yours. All you have to do is say the word, and we will get those tickets to you immediately. So congratulations to my girl Condo P. You are so deserving. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And I think it's only right that I take care of you as well. So thank you for all that you do, Condo P. There we go. Jamal Hamlin writes, Lou, just starting my morning. I truly enjoy your content. It's like a piece of home for me living overseas. I feel like Troy and Bostic are like that stray pet that keeps coming back. 11 plus wins. I don't know. A lot of y'all, I don't know if y'all realize, but Trap is back. Hey, wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, and grab your strap. I can't get up and leave without my trap. God blessing all the traps out there, man. App is back. And he'll be back. Watch. He'll be on that 53 man. The first sign of trouble on special teams, Trap is back. Back on that active. And we just can't shake Jon BOOMBostic, man. We just can't shake him. Can't shake him. But it's always good hearing from those of you who are overseas that and this channel keeps you abreast of what's going on, man. Never in my wildest dreams that I think I would, be reaching people across, bodies of water and in different time zones that are 12, 13, 14 hours time difference, any of that stuff, man. It's incredible. And so I appreciate you, Jamal, and all that you do. And thank you so much. And we all appreciate your service. So thank you. And I'm assuming you are in the military. You may not be. You might just live overseas. Either way, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. And you're not lying about Troy and Bostic, man. They are like stray animals. Carlton Pagano Jackson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. CPJ writes, Queen Condo P, my sister for life. Real family right there. That's what we've tried to cultivate here, is a family-like environment, man. And I think we've achieved that. I think we've succeeded. I'm excited about what we've built, you know, and I'm looking forward to how this thing will continue to grow in the future. So shout out to all of y'all that have made this feel like a family environment, man. And I appreciate y'all and ask that y'all continue to support, continue to pour in the time, the energy, and it takes a lot, you know, it takes a village. And I appreciate each and every single one of y'all. Let's see. Luck, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Luck writes, we getting high game one, Condo. Oh my God, I cannot with y'all, man. I cannot. Jeremiah Stafford, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Jeremiah Stafford writes, we all sparking tonight. I'll be there with you, CP. Oh my God, we got a bunch of weed heads. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Oh man, you guys are on one tonight. Luck, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Luck writes, every single game at halftime, I will be by Bud Light Party Pavilion on the smokers ramp with one lit. Anyone is welcome. Club level, just walk up. There's your invite. All right, Luck is telling you what's really good. You might have to let them know what you're wearing so they don't just roll up on some rando. But Luck is giving y'all the invite right there, letting y'all know, hey, it's open. Just be careful, you know. I don't know. There might be a little some extra in Luck's L, so be careful. Anyway, you guys are crazy. I can't with y'all. You know what it is. I'm your man, Louie T, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, post up. Take command. I appreciate you guys greatly. We have now turned the calendar to September. It's that time, guys. Like, it's here. No more August, no more July, no more training camp, no more preseason. It's September. It's football time. It's my favorite time of the year. It's fall, weather's changing, getting a little cooler outside. Thanksgiving, Halloween's on the horizon, then Thanksgiving, then Christmas. There isn't a better stretch of time to be alive than right before Halloween, transitioning into Thanksgiving, and then heading into Christmas. Man, that is a trifecta that is timeless. It is tried, it is true, and it is undefeated. And we're heading into that stretch. So, anyway, that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. Oh, my gosh. We got some more super chats. Didn't realize that. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Metaphor, writes, Luck is the little leprechaun in the gold pot. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Fat American, writes, I'm predicting that Washington will not be as good as 2005 defensively. It's a pretty safe bet. Pretty safe bet. I don't think anybody's taking you up on that bet. GearCell1, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, GearCell1, writes, much love and respect to you. holding it down out here in Washington State. Okay, so that's another person out on the West Coast. Wow, and so that's 2 Portlands and you're somewhere in Washington, and wow, there may be a lot more Washington fans out there than I was led to believe, because my guy Burgundy Fly Guy, I know he was in the Washington area as well. It's Washington State area, that is, close to Seattle, because he would always be talking about the Seahawks and stuff. So, interesting. Luck, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Luck writes, look for a bust down Rolex and diamond teeth. Oh, he's stunting out here. He's shitting on everybody. He said, look for the bust down Rolly and the diamond teeth. He like this. Remember when they used to do that back in the day? When Paul Wall was hot and we was talking about grills. Anyway, that's for the podcast. Carlton Pagano Jackson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Carlton Pagano Jackson writes, Weed Head Central. I see. I was not aware. I see now. I see. Clearly. I see. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Fat American writes, hey Lou, knock knock. I'm scared to say who's there. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Your man, Louie T. Appreciate you guys. Looking forward to chopping it up with y'all. I don't know if you're gonna get anything from me. I'm gonna be honest with you. The remainder of the week, we'll see how things shake out. But I might kind of just use this as a pseudo, last bit of vacation time prior to, because once the season starts, the shit starts. It hits the fan and it doesn't stop until after the draft in like literally May. So unless something happens noteworthy, like if we cut someone else, sign somebody else, you'll hear from me. But if it's just status quo, we had a practice day, you might not hear from me today or tomorrow. But we'll see. I won't make any promises, because clearly if something happens, you're going to see this face up in your space, as I always like to say. But in any event, Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. He says, knock, knock. I say, who's there? He says, 2005. And that is the perfect way to end the show. Thank you guys once again for joining me. It's been a long off season. It's over. Now let's get to the good stuff. Okay? You know what it is. You guys take care. God bless and good night.
LouieTeeNetwork.
Smoke every day.
Louie